Grand Rising, everybody. We're going to start this off with some music like we always do by Dangerous. Grand Rising. Much love, much respect to everybody. Here we go. Hood Politics Part 1. Hey, shout out Royal and Loyal.
Class in session. So it's time for you to get the notes. The quickest way to sell your soul is when you niggas vote. This shit I'm kicking is forbidden. Better listen, bro. A politician preaching love is the biggest joke. See what they do is use the shit as a tool. Got us focus on these fools and putting shit in our food. Fighting to free your mind is kinda hollow the truth. The system make you a zombie if you follow the rules, so we rebel. But not too many live it to tell, till they find the cheat code using digital scales. Paradise is aborted when the mission is failed. Heaven and hell collide like prison and jail. And you don't need religion just to say you awake. You're even dumber than you look. You think you came from an ape. Religion needs science. Science need religion. One tell a story and the other paint the picture. But listen, nigga, if you dig a little deeper, you can find that little rabbit in the mother of the reaper. I'm the best for a reason. There's a message in the speaker when the cosmos talking. That's a blessing from the ether. One day I met the devil for real and made a deal with him. There's a message in the speaker when the cosmos talking. Came in the form of thought I couldn't build with him. Shit I was selling the beans was really killing them. Your gun bars ain't much if your gat don't shoot. I'm strapped and bulletproof like the Batman suit. All it takes is one snap to have my enemies killed. The laws of space and time, I could bend them at will. Yeah, I'm in the world that some of y'all have not seen, and living on the page that some of y'all cannot read. And right now they probably calling me cheap, cause I decided it's enough and now I finally speak. Tell you the truth, I don't trust people who cheat. It's deeper than having sex, you give birth to deceit. If you see where this is going, this is true as can be. If you lie to the ones you love, then you do it to me. The cold word is rainy night. Niggas get wet outside, but ain't no rain in sight. They wonder where this come from. Ascension when it's all done. No reason to believe in a God. When you become one, you understand. You could get it the same. Niggas will double cross you if you get them the fame. My soul ain't for sale just to get in the game. It's dangerous, homie. Just remember the name.
Feather Girl.
Research shows nostalgia can help you remember ads. So customize and save with Liberty Mutual.
A lot of people don't know this, but if you have the YouTube app on your phone, you could be using it to make a...
Yeah.
Grand Rising, my brother Tony Furlow, much respect.
Honestly, I'm just looking for a feather girl, you know? Just get it.
Vision be fooling.
What's your name? What's your sign? I'm just trying to make you mine. Chocolate girl, you know you fine. Do I ever cross your mind? Get it wet, make it rain. Be my weather girl. I'm just looking for a white. Won't you be my feather girl? What's your name? What's your sign? I'm just trying to make you mine. Chocolate girl, you know you fine. Do I ever cross your mind? Get it wet, make it rain. Be my weather girl. I'm just looking for a white. Won't you be my feather girl? Yeah, you bad. Yeah, you fine. I'm just trying to make you mine. You ain't worried about these pennies, girl, cause you know you're a dime. And I knew that I would have you. I just had to wait my time. Had to know you past looks, cause you know that love is blind. Met you at the powwow, asked you what's your tribe. You asked me, mom, we politicking, then we caught a vibe. So you rocking your feathers, you can say you caught my eye. From that moment, girl, I knew that I could probably make you bride. Girl, you the truth, shorty, what you wanna do? Come and be a winner, you know I could never lose. Wanna be a man now, tell me what I gotta prove. You the realest, so that's why a nigga really fuck with you. What's your name? What's your sign? I'm just trying to make you mine. Chocolate girl, you know you fine. Do I ever cross your mind? Get it wet, make it rain. Be my weather girl. I'm just looking for a white. Won't you be my feather girl? What's your name? What's your sign? I'm just trying to make you mine. Chocolate girl, you know you fine. Do I ever cross your mind? Get it wet, make it rain. Be my weather girl. I'm just looking for a white. Won't you be my feather girl? Damn girl, you do that thing damn well. I know you indigenous. What's your tribe? I can't tell.
Appreciate all
you
y'all.
Choctaw, Chickasaw, Cherokee. No interracial girl. I only fuck with chicks that look like me. I like a long hair, melanated vibe with no guidance. it. Shorty, I'ma be your God. Let me show you how to live. It's not enough to just survive and maybe have a couple kids if I end up between your thighs. For real. Intellectual convos about a book or something. That smirk emoji like you giving me that look or something. You keep it real like you carrying a hook or something. So if you want it, you got it. Ain't gotta look for nothing. What's your name? What's your sign? I'm just trying to make you mine. Chocolate girl, you know you fine. Do I ever cross your mind? Get it wet, make it rain. Be my weather girl. I'm just looking for a wife. Won't you be my feather girl? What's your name? What's your sign? I'm just trying to make you mine. Chocolate girl, you know you fine. Do I ever cross your mind? Get it wet, make it rain. Be my weather girl. I'm just looking for a wife. Won't you be my feather girl?
We're gonna start it off. Couple more songs. Hood Politics Part 3, Danger.
Shit getting out of control, I mean we been there. Hate, they disguise it as love, we call it sincere. They took us to a place where ain't none of this shit playing. We just look stupid, wondering how we get here. This government got us in chains cause they don't love us. They got us separated by gangs over some colors. What hurts more is we keep trusting these motherfuckers and putting bullshit that they say over each other. It's a bad world. Many cry in this sad world. A unicorn is compared to a black girl, or any child when you mix it, making life swirl. Gems meet a diamond and dance to make the ice swirl. Nigga, don't waste your time trying to hate on them. If you can't deal with your pride, then stay away from me. I don't fuck with none of that dumb shit. You heard that? Don't believe we live on the globe, nigga.
Salute. My brother OG Philly, salutes to the enemy's public. Much love. Peace to everybody in the chat.
The mic is loud and clear, brother. Loud and clear.
But niggas don't keep the same energy to exert that.
What kind of freedom is that? What kind of social or political system is it when a black man has no voice in court? Has nothing on his side other than what the white man chooses to do. My brothers and sisters, we have to put a stop to this. And it will never be stopped until we stop it ourselves.
Mind over matter, but none of that'll matter when in life you're trying to climb and a nigga pull a ladder, believing in the myth when reality is shattered. The lies never end unless you serve it on a platter. America made you a slave, then call you monster. Erase everything that we paved and say we conquered. Willie lynching is a system that really harmed us. It raped women, left children without their fathers. America, land of the free, home of the great. America, cage of the beast, home of the snake. But the fight don't stop when you gone. This shit a marathon. Everything they touched in this world, they made it terraform. The best piece of advice, stay about these pigs sight. Fuck what goes on in the street. Nigga, just live life. You only get one of those, nigga. Don't play with that. Trying to dance away in the dark and never make it back. We got a lot of loving to do. Shit is getting worse. Hate run deep in these roots. It's like the shit is cursed. Murder everything you can name. The world gone berserk. Pedophilia real as fuck. It's even in the church music. We've been flaming it. No, it ain't no game with it. Just know I put my soul on the beat. When you banging it, this is for the shit that I see and won't play with it. Hood Politics Part 3. My name Dangerous.
They attacked the victim, and then the criminal who attacked the victim accuses the victim of attacking him. This is American justice. This is American democracy. And those of you who are familiar with it know that in America, democracy is hypocrisy. Now, if I'm wrong, put me in jail. But if you can't prove that a democracy is not hypocrisy, then don't put your hands on me.
American state was in West domestic crisis since the Civil War.
Shout out to Roger W. I see you, brother. Much respect to you and the family. Roger W.
They say it's a war going on outside. I don't give a fuck. Any nigga crossing them lines, I'ma hit them up. I hope niggas open their eyes so they see the gun. If not, then we robbing you blind. That's for being dumb. It's dangerous. You know what's up. Hood politicking with my niggas and we going up. Now the music's blowing up, shit changed. Now everybody trying to show me love. I went to do a show, they wouldn't show. Now they showing up. Niggas need a fast flip, so that mean we sold drugs. I was trying to bubble off the water like soap suds. Transcending thoughts, so what's up in your medulla? Try to keep it clear, don't let these shady fucks fool you into throwing out your life. Now you looking like a
Shout
loser.
out my brother Reg.
Life could
Where
be
that?
a bitch, at
you,
least
brother.
I'm waking up
Grand
to
Rise.
her. You a flunky and you
Like I
waiting
said, y'all
on the
already
money.
know. Throw
You
y'all
ain't
channel
trying to
links
make
out.
the money
Everybody
when you
support each
hating
other.
on the
Grand
money.
Rising,
You ain't
everybody.
getting money, so y'all niggas, you need to stop it. It doesn't add up when we touching on the topic. The burner when I lift it, it bake a nigga biscuit. Shit be waking up the dead when I take it on the mission. One shot to do more than scare you little bitches, put you down like a zombie, so we call it Daryl Dixon. It's an easy street, nigga, so these niggas can't miss it. The only nigga living make a murder so prolific. The sucker shit they do in the street, it really bothers me. I don't respect none of that shit. I say that honestly, front and get you sent for. You won't go as far as me. Turn the nigga video shoot into a horror scene.
Something is wrong. The truth is that the Revolutionary War was fought on American soil to free the American white man from the English white man. The Revolutionary War was never fought to provide freedom and democracy in this white country for the black man. Our people remained slaves here in America even after the Declaration of Independence was signed. In fact, most of the white founding fathers who signed the Declaration of Independence were nothing but slave owners themselves.
Hey, shout out to sponsors. Shout out Dangerous Music for that fire music. You know, I'm introduced to two brothers, the enemy's public. You know, brothers I have much respect for. You know, we've been he does excellent presentations. He gives it from his heart. You know, my brother Key Norful, my flat power brother. You know, much respect to this brother. You know, so these the two brothers that's gonna be giving this presentation today. Y'all see the title. Welcome my brother Enemies Public and Key Norful. Much respect.
Salute to you, good brother. Peace to my good brother, Key Norful.
Metal
Honor,
face.
honor and respect to everybody in the chat also.
Peace and power to both of you brothers, man. Salutes to everybody. You already know.
Indeed. You know, I'm going to start off by saying I know some of our people can't imagine, can't fathom being in the world unlike, you know, the world we're living in now, as far as being a part of a establishment not built for us. We'll have people that will make excuses to not divorce this system. A lot of us don't want a complete freedom because with freedom comes responsibility. As a matter of fact, not only responsibility, a great responsibility, because when we are free people, there's no going to our open and consistent enemy for anything. Whether we get, whether we have to get it and do it for ourselves. And we have the resources to do it. It's just we have to get the mindset. It's a process. We're not going to wake up tomorrow and not be a part of the establishment. And that's where people go wrong when they start talking about a reality of this situation. They'll come up and they'll say, you're a part of this, you're a part of that, you got a social security number, giving all kinds of branch knowledge instead of going to the root. I know I have a social security number, and that's not something that I was in charge with doing because I was a newborn baby. But if I had to do it for myself, I wouldn't have. And we have to know that our parents did the best that they can do with the knowledge that they had, like everybody else that came before us. They didn't have what we have. So we have to understand that. Yet this system is not a system designed for us. And there's no comfortable place for us in this system. So you're wasting your time and effort trying to find a comfortable place in this system. We have to do like everybody else, develop our own system. We have brothers and sisters who are trying to do that, and we must aid them in their efforts. And for now, I want to yield the mic to my good brother, Key Norful.
Shout out my brother Key Norful. Grand Rising, brother.
Salutes. Hey, that was perfectly said. As far as not having that option to go and get things from the enemy, I think that was a perfect example of, where we at right now. Because a lot of our people kind of feeling like, if we develop our own system, what if things don't go right? And to move from a spot of comfortability to go to a point of accountability is scary to a lot of people. So that was well said, my brother.
Yeah, you just sparked something, brother. You just sparked something in me with your last statement, brother. Fact. Keep going, brother.
Yeah, I feel like once we get over that hump, because it's like the not knowing part for a lot of people. They're scared to take a chance. We don't really trust each other. It's sad to say that we got more trust and more, belief in the system, which is another nation, being run by another nation. We got more belief and trust in those people than we do ourselves. It's like we're a joke to ourselves, but we don't want to say it. On the other end, we say how much of guys we are, and we say that to get instant gratification off a word or a feeling. But then when it comes to the part about putting that work in, it's not that it can't be done. It's that it's like we don't even want to do it. We know we can do it, but we don't even want to try to do it with each other.
You know how backwards
That's
that is.
just crazy.
You know how backwards that is, brother. Having trust for the untrustworthy. And the proof that we can do it for ourselves is that we do it for others. That's the proof that we can do it for ourselves. This nation will perish without us. Not something that we should care about. We should care about our own nation and, strive to build our own nation. Yet this nation that we take a part in, we participate in, it will perish without us. And we have to be self-accusing and hold ourselves accountable for us not, coming out of our enemy. Now, today's, divorce in the system segment is going to be about the police corruption and the slave code of laws. And that's what we're under. A lot of our people don't want to believe that we are under tyranny until it actually happened to them. We don't look at our brother and our sister and say, wow, that brother or sister is a victim of police brutality and we're under tyranny. And then when it happens to one of us, we want our people to rally around us and support us. No, we should be supporting those who have fell a victim to the tyranny of the slave code of laws and the police corruption. Now, this is not something new. Yet when people put their feet on you, the only way you can get their feet off you is to take it off you. And when you want somebody to stop doing something to you, you have to stop them from doing it to you, because the Federal Bureau of Investigations, they're not going to investigate it correctly. The FOP, Fraternal Order of Police, or the police unions. These are people who rally around the police when they do wrong by the citizens. And we need to go to the origin of police. You know, police, the key word to police is really policy, because when you mention the law to them, it's like it's a foreign thing, especially when like the auditors approach them and ask them a certain amendment, a certain law. They are oblivious to these amendments and these laws. As a matter of fact, they get upset with you when you mention these things because they don't expect you to know. They don't want you to know, and it triggers them because you won't fall a victim, and they're saying you're being uncooperative just by mentioning the law. They call themselves law enforcement, but they want you in compliance with what they tell you to do. It's all about you complying, getting you to comply with them, not enforcing the law. And the laws are made for their people. So when we mention the law, it really angers them. They consider you a uppity nigger just for stating that you have rights. Yet if somebody is doing something to you, you can't expect to go to their brother and ask him to do something about his brother that's wronging you. You got to take your own initiative. Get with a like minds. Don't threaten them, but serve as a threat to them who would do us wrong. Forget the talking. We have to serve as a threat. They'll know what it is when they see us. The problem with some of our people is we talk too much. What we should be doing is closing the ranks and just walking around our streets. We do our talking amongst each other indoors. When we go outside, it's all about the business. Anybody come up to us, if we're going to say anything, we designate a brother or sister that's going to speak for all of us. Make sure it's not a fool, and we back up everything that brother and that sister say. I know it will work because it was done before, and I was a part of it. It shook some people. Some people was frightened, and they had a right to be frightened. Why? Because their everyday way of life, meaning the corruption, was threatened. I'm not talking about going around committing crimes. I'm talking about going and policing our communities ourselves and tell the police we got this, because you don't have no genuine concern for our people. We got this. Because if somebody don't live in our community, they have no business being in our community, patrolling nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Bad. That's
because they always talking about we need to hire minorities. That's not the answer. If they have the same mindset, it's not the answer. You got it, brother Key.
I'm with you on that, good brother. You know, some you said about see, they don't excuse me. The police officers don't specialize in law. They specialize in policy and enforcement of law, which they don't really understand. See, that's why when you get to the court, that's why you got to go to court, because that's the median. If they knew the law and could enforce the law, your sentence would go in right there when they write you their ticket. Y'all both two people coming to go with this in the court of law. So that's another thing we got to understand. And like you said, once you start stating law, you shake them right then, because they don't specialize in law. You know, they could be trying to enforce policy on something that's breaking 3 or 4 laws and not even recognize it until they get to court. They got to do their homework just like you.
Fact.
See, when you get into color of law, the hue fades to policy. So when you get to court, that's what you judged on that scale of the color of the law. How close you is to policy, breaking policy, or how close they is to breaking law. The law is already yours on your side. So that was a very good point you brought up too, my brother.
What they don't realize that the policies that establishment may have, that's for the employees of that establishment, and you're not under that policy. Everybody that worked there in that building have to abide by that policy, not someone who comes there. That's the problem. That's what the problem that I have when law enforcement show up and they try to enforce a policy on a citizen. And what they don't realize is the citizen has more rights than law enforcement. I tell people all the time, the first thing you should do is trip the officer up. Make the officer articulate why he stopped you. Reasonable, articulable suspicion. Tell me exactly what you stopped me for and what crime you suspect me of committing, about to commit or in the process of committing. That's the very first thing you should ask a police officer when they approach you. If they can't do that, you say, have a good day and keep going. As a matter of fact, you shouldn't even stop. You should be walking. Make that joker follow you while you're saying that. Don't even stop for them. Because if they can't articulate why they stopped you, it's an illegal stop. And what we need to do is get a sack as men. Because a lot of us would allow men 25 and 30 years younger than us in some cases to treat us like they're that much older than us. All because they're wearing a duty belt and they wouldn't even approach us without that on. Their chest out only because they got the duty belt on. And when they're trained to get compliance, and they're trained with officer safety. They're not trained to protect you. As a matter of fact, they're not even obligated to protect you. Their departmental policies is not about protecting you. They'll tell the officer to make sure he's safe, not make sure the taxpayer is safe. That is why we have to divorce this system. And when we divorce this system, we're going to pay police officers. They should be doing exactly what they do in other neighborhoods. What the hell we say? Because when they go, as a matter of fact, they don't even go to certain areas unless they're called. But they come in our areas and disrespect us. And they thumb their nose. It used to be our word against theirs. Now there's cameras in their faces and they thumb their nose at the cameras like they don't even care. Why? Qualified immunity. Unless they show that they know what they're doing or they understand what they're doing, they get qualified immunity. Because they can go in and say they didn't know. But they'll tell us that ignorance of the law is no excuse. The citizen, but the police officer who got the training supposedly can go in and say he or she don't know and get qualified immunity. If that's a slave code of laws we're under.
That's facts. By them pushing policy, they're gonna always make the scale of the law unbalanced because they're not upholding law, they're upholding policy. This is what we gotta understand, but we just fold automatically because in our mind is you breaking the law, you breaking policy. Matter of fact, they gotta go back and match up what you did to law. They don't match the law up to what you did, they match what you did to law. This is why you got the advantage. Because they got to say you did a certain thing in a certain way to make it match the law for you to break. You broke policy. You didn't break law. They wouldn't even have a way of knowing that you broke law until they go and match it up or they put it with a code. You see what I'm saying? Certain things they automatically throw in code. That's why by the time you plea out for something, it'll say you did some stuff that you didn't do in the sense of something that they could say you did. See what I'm saying? Once we can start understanding these types of things, it'll make us go into the situation with more confidence. Like the brother said, man, what you stopped me for? Like exactly what you stopped me for. What law I break? You know, I had police officers 25 years old trying to tell me to stop, give them my ID. Man, you 25 years old, man. Don't even play with me. Don't touch me, man. You better get your sergeant or your captain or the chief or somebody, man. I'm not finna sit up here and let you talk to me like that. You just a few years older than my daughter, man. But yeah, that's what we subject to. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
exactly.
You got a good brother.
Grand rising, everybody. You know, like I said, I love this subject. You know, and what I want to say real quick is like, that's why I'm divorcing this system, because they gave us religion. We should have been learning law.
Yes.
And health. We don't know nothing about law. We know more about, we can quote a Quran book or a Bible verse, but we don't know shit about law. And that's how they controlling us. And that's why I hate this system and everything that comes with this system, because we were taught the wrong thing, and it's showing in 2023.
Yes.
You know, the law enforcement, they ain't never been for the people. They always been for the system. You know what I mean? We need to learn law. And I'm going to land there and get a mic back to my brother. Shout out Tonya Renee, Never Hungry Again, Cantu, Eddie, Wine Truth. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Much
peace
respect.
to the good brothers.
You got it, brother.
Peace to everybody in the chat. Yes, brother. I agree with you, good brother. You know, the religion makes us docile and it makes us obedient, because it says in the scriptures that we should obey our masters And it's a coping mechanism for the people to make them think if they be good, it's a reward for them. Yet how many of our people went to their grave without receiving that award? So their award must be the grave. See, whatever we want in our community should be there. Whatever we don't want is up to, I'm going to say it like this, the men to go out, whatever's in our community that we don't want, we run it away from our community. And nobody can tell us we can't do it. Why? Because it's our community. Because oftentimes, police officers don't even live there. And they shouldn't be there in the first place. So you can't tell me because you work here and your perceived authority gonna tell me I can't patrol my own community and have what I want in my community and drive off what I don't want in my community. You're telling the damn lie. If you that's your mindset, your mind is playing tricks on you. Because if I'm paying for my house, I'm in charge. You can't come, nobody can come through my door and be the man over me. Nobody. Peace be upon him, not even my father. This is mine. Can't come being the man over me, but they'll come to your house screaming and yelling, using profanity, acting like they run it. But they don't do it with their own people. They'll come and they'll do it only to us. That's why, of course, a Caucasian man and others, of course, they're going to be patriotic. And they should. It's their system. It's not ours. But some of us want, and we try hard as hell to find a comfortable place in this system when it's not. Again, it's like being a battered wife. Keep taking them back. Keep finding excuses not to leave them. We have to cut that out. It's a process, but it can be done because if you add up the money that come through our hands, our people here in the wilderness of North America is one of the richest nations. Our people on this planet. So therefore, if we took our money pool, our resources, got our mindset correct and was serious about it, close the ranks, stop the bullshit about which way we should go and all this, have a like mind. Because determining who we are is good. But if our mindset is the same, we just know who we are in the same condition. We can't do that. We have to organize, strategize, and deputize. That means everybody got to play their part in what we have to do. Every part is significant. Definitely could be done. And that's the only way our condition is going to change. It's not going to change being in this system. There's no benevolent president, vice president, congressman, senator. No benevolent person is going to do that. That's our job anyway, to change our condition. Why? Keyword is our. It's our condition. And I'll yield the mic to my brother.
That's fact. That's facts, good brother. I just wanted to say, to that point you made about, it's cool to know who we are. Really, I think that's kind of the problem too. A little bit of the problem. We spending a lot of time trying to figure out who we are so we can figure out how to act instead of acting the way we need to succeed and win. And then being who we are winning. See what I'm saying? We trying to figure out who we are so we can figure out what to set our mind for. Or shit, did we eat this back then? Or did we dress like this? Or, what religion was we practicing back then? Like, fuck all that. We need to be, well, excuse my language, forget all that. We need to be just doing what we need to do to win. That's it.
I'm with you, my brother. Like I said, I seen the brother Noble in the chat. He mentioned, ain't that what the Moors are doing? I say all these religious organizations, all they doing is cooperating. They ain't pushing separation. They cooperating. I don't care if it's the Moors, the Christians, the Muslims. They all cooperating with the system. And like the brother enemy said, public said, and I said, religion makes you docile. It tells you to surrender or to submit to your earthly master.
Yes, it does.
And your heavenly father. So, none of them is doing anything. They're working with the system, not going against the system. You got it, brother. I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, after you put forth all your efforts to, to bring forth your change to make things better, and at the end of the day, you just repeat your cycle and take a policy number, then you are on the side of policy. You're not on the side of people. Like, that's what we breaking down with this shit with the color of law. When they put them two scales up there with the judge talking about the two scales in front of the judge, one side is policy, one side is law.
Yes.
Hey, let me holler at my brother D. Allen Warren, Graham Rising, brother.
They're not balanced, brother. And they're not balanced, brother Key.
Not at all.
They say that, that justice is blind. For the past, I know in my lifetime, I know for a fact that so-called lady who have the blindfold on, she's peeking. She's peeking from under that blindfold.
Oh, yeah.
Because justice,
I know what you're talking about.
Justice is not blind, brother. It's not. Because they determine who they're going to give justice to.
Exactly.
Richard Pryor said, you go down there looking for justice, that's what you find, just us.
And it's definitely not fair.
Hell yeah.
Shout out to Epic Studies. I see you, brother.
See, when you get a so-called justice, they'll say, they use a lot of words. They always introduce something that's innovative. They use a lot of noble words like freedom, justice, equity, democracy, and all that, but they don't believe that. They say that and deny it to us right in our face. They don't believe none of that. Because justice is a reward or penalty. That's what justice is. And we can't depend on someone to give us a true justice. See, we don't realize if we get our minds right. See, I'm not going to speak about unity because we always come together. It's what we do when we get together is the problem. We have to have alike minds. Everybody have their part they can be doing when it comes to us coming together. Whether your qualification is, that's you. I can't do it if it's not my qualification, but I can help you in your efforts. Wherever mine is, you do the same. If everybody had that mindset, and we're going to aid each other in our efforts and we come together. See, I don't like when people use that cliche or that, we just got to come together. No, we have to have a plan when we come together. What are we going to do when we come together? If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So we have to have a plan before we do something, or we could be doing it as we could be planning as we do it. There's nothing wrong with thinking while you work, because you're supposed to think while you work. that this system, no comfortable place for us in it. So we need to stop trying and get out of it. It's a process, but it can be done.
We got the other side too, good brother. My bad. I was want to say we got the ones who trying to make it work, and then we got the ones who saying, "Man, forget all that coming together stuff." You see what I'm saying? That's
Hey,
a whole.
Keith,
That's a
the
whole
ones that
other
trying to
issue.
make it work, they're working for the system. They're blind, like the brother said, because this system, it ain't no justice in it. Go ahead, y'all got it.
They're trying to find a comfortable place, brother, and they're trying to find a comfortable place in this system. And I'm gonna tell you the truth, I don't even wish them luck. I don't. You could try all you want, because they'll always come to us as an individual and give you that, what I call that, the David Ruffin syndrome. And we always had that when it come to us, the David Ruffin syndrome, that Michael Jackson, Bobby Brown syndrome, wanting to be the standout among the people. We have to, that's something that I always mention because it always happened. They will always pull one of us and make one of us think that we're bigger and better than the rest of us, when all they doing is divide and conquer. So it's going to come a time that, when it hits the fan, when we start working, it's gonna come a time you're gonna have to. You're gonna have to capitulate to them, or you're gonna have to capitulate to us. The time's gonna come. A lot of us, we will align ourselves to anybody who that we see or perceive as winning. Some of us are like that. And some of us are bandwagoners. We won't get together and come with brothers when they organize, but once it's established, we want to jump on. Some of us don't like organizing. Some of us don't like establishing nothing. We want get on something that's already established. That's what some of us want.
Hey, shout out OG Green Machine, King Suicide, and Dante. I see y'all, Grand Rising. We're going to open the panel up after we finish our presentation, everybody. Shout out my brother, American Negro. Go ahead, my brother.
And it's going to come a time when, you know the saying, get down or lay down. It's going to come to that. Why? Because we're talking about an entire nation of people who we are trying to salvage. Our people. And a lot of us like to argue semantics. I'm not with semantics. I'm a straightforward, to the point brother. No semantics. If I want to go around the world, I take a jet.
Oh yeah,
because I don't like word
say if, should, woulda, coulda. You can do that all day,
Shout out Goddess, NRG.
Yes, sir.
And Cut Time. Welcome to the platform. Go ahead, brother. Y'all got
brother, you want to present one of the videos so we can build on it? Anyone of your choice, brother.
Got you. Give me 30 seconds. Much love and respect to everybody in the house. Grand Rising. Some of our people love this system so much. They'll die for this system. You know what I mean? I had them ready already. Give me 1 second.
Yes, sir. They would die for this system, brother. And they think it's theirs. Because do you remember when you was playing Malcolm? That our house is on fire, we sick. Some of us had that mentality.
There's no reason to come inside of our house. Are you kidding me?
Video,
why
are you in our house? You see the mark? Should be sharing the first video. For what? Anthony Lowe, Grand Rising, Silent, Cut Time.
Yeah, this is what they do to our people, brother. Our believe this is one of the leading officer in this video. I believe is a female sergeant. OG got knocked out.
OG fell off.
He fell off.
Yeah, I thought he did. Okay.
Yeah, because
he should be right back.
The video froze for a second. It started playing. Yes, a lot of us, we're after the money, and we're not. Some of us really don't care about anybody outside of their house, brother. Some of us are like that. You go, it's like mind-boggling to me when you try to talk to a brother about these type of subjects, and they at least they act like they're oblivious to it, and then some of them act like they don't even care about anybody outside of the house. They don't. They don't see their open enemy as their enemy.
Yeah, I'm back, brother. I got knocked out. I'm gonna play that video again. I'm gonna start it from the beginning.
Yes, sir.
There you go.
Are you kidding me?
Why are you in our house?
Here we go. Fair use, fair use.
For what? For you. Not for me.
Police have just broken into the home of this innocent couple while they were sound asleep. The officers have weapons drawn. There's just one problem. Those officers have made a mistake. They just don't know it yet.
You said my door was open? Yes, there's cameras all over here, buddy. Good. All right, then. Come out. You want to talk to the police over here? Step out for what? I'm in my boxers. I'm waking up. What time is it? Margate's right here, bro. Come on. There we go. Hey,
shout out Anthony Love and KC Featherhat.
You heard that right. The man in the video is holding his baby as police train their weapons and flashlights on him. They're demanding he leave the home for questioning, even though they haven't told him what this is about or even made a positive ID that this is the man they're looking for. With all this confusion, the situation could quickly escalate out of control.
You still haven't told us why you're here.
You come out here now, or we have to go in there. And we don't want to have to go in there with you and the baby in there. So it's best for him to just come out.
Do you have a warrant?
Yes, we do. So come out.
I'd like to see it, please.
Come here.
I would like to see it now.
That's not how this works.
Even waking up from a sound sleep, the woman in this video knows the right question to ask. Do you have a warrant? Police assure her they do, and they'll show it to her if she'll just leave her house. But as she correctly asserts, she has a right to see the search warrant before agreeing to anything the officers say. Their response? It doesn't work that way, except it definitely does.
If he doesn't come out here in about a minute, we're going to end up going in there. So record all this.
I am.
Come on. Because this ain't going to look good for you.
Hey, I'm going to put the link in the chat after we finish our presentation.
One of the most common scare tactics used by police who know they're in the wrong is to try and intimidate victims by claiming it won't look good for them to assert their constitutional rights. That's total nonsense, but it often works. After all, most people aren't going to argue with the guys who have riot shields and guns. But this couple knows their rights, and they aren't letting up. Almost half a minute of tense silence follows this officer's threat, during which those police officers are really hoping these two crack under the pressure. But that isn't happening, and slowly officers edge forward to confront them directly.
I got you, my brother.
Outside, bro. I'm coming, bro.
Relax, put shoes on.
Damn.
This is ridiculous.
What's ridiculous?
That you just came to the door with a baby in your hand earlier. And you're taking forever to come out. And we got 8 guys out here.
It's clear that the responding officers are starting to question whether this is actually the guy they're looking for. At one point, one of the 8 officers who just raided this couple's home criticizes them for carrying their baby. But as you can already hear, those officers are starting to lose some of their macho confidence.
Let's go. All right, now, put your hands on your pockets. This isn't a joke. Turn around, put your hands on your head, walk backwards. Turn around, put your hands on your head, and walk backwards. Come out. Yes, this is for real, bro. Come out.
I'm getting my son. I'm getting my son.
Come out.
Keep in mind that officers still haven't shown any search warrants and have provided absolutely no justification for why they broke into this couple's home. They're still hoping if they shout loud enough, it will overpower these two psychologically. But so far, these two have been completely compliant with instructions, and that's just not enough for the police.
Anybody else here, ma'am?
No. You guys can.
Anybody else here?
No.
It's just y'all?
Thank you, Shannon.
Show me your warrant, please.
You got it outside.
Can I see the warrant?
Bro, you guys just can.
Oh my God.
My attorney is going to eat
we're gonna get in a lot of trouble.
My lawyer is going to eat this.
When officers finally do show the couple the warrant, guess what? It turns out those 8 officers raided the wrong home. And as the officer standing on the grass says in a moment of rare self-awareness, we're going to get in a lot of trouble for this. Oh, buddy, you better believe that's the truth.
Where is he at?
I have no idea. You see them cameras right there?
That's good.
You guys are.
I'm happy for the camera.
Let this man come to my house for a person I don't even know. I do know him.
And while the officers may say they're, quote, happy for the cameras that just caught them breaking into the wrong house and terrorizing a couple and their baby, that confidence isn't going to hold up in court. Just a few minutes ago, those officers were talking about how bad it was going to be for the couple. Now it's looking pretty bad for them. This kind of failure is all too common in our undertrained, over-militarized police departments. This couple is incredibly lucky no one ended up hurt or killed by these overzealous officers and their inability to read their own warrant. As one TikTok commenter notes, one officer has already admitted guilt on camera. There was zero attempt at de-escalating this situation on the part of the police. In fact, it was the innocent couple who made every single effort to lower the tension by trying to assert their constitutional rights. Others aren't so lucky. In Lebanon, Tennessee, a 61-year-old man was gunned down by police during a raid where officers admitted they had the wrong house. In that case, police said they meant to raid the house next door. But stories like this are a stark reminder that when the cops barge into your home, they're more likely to shoot first and ask questions never. This couple's quick thinking and calm demeanor likely saved their lives. But what about the next couple? If you made it to the end, thanks so much for watching. Please leave a like, consider subscribing, and check out my Substack at maxburns.substack.com for even more coverage. And leave a comment below so you can let me know what I should cover next.
Got you, my brother. Enemies public.
Now,
got my brother King Genocide on the panel. Welcome, King Genocide.
Peace, King Genocide. Now, the first person in the house is the one who's supposed to be the one with that warrant in his hand.
Look, I'm putting this on my stream. Y'all cool with this shit? No bullshit. Like, I'm putting this on my stream, and I'm not trying to be lazy. Look, I went through the 4th day without drinking. Look, if y'all know me, look, I went to, but my people is drinking today. And look, I'm about to post a stream on my shit. I'm just double streaming the panel on my shit though. But
got you, brother.
We only okay that shit. You don't just do that shit unless you okay that shit. Even though I know I'm okay with doing that shit, I'ma still ask to do that shit. That's respect. You feel me?
Got you. Yeah, let us finish getting the presentation then, brother.
No bullshitting, y'all right. Look, all that shit, that spiritual energy, that shit y'all told me. And look, yeah, and nigga, OG Philly Big Dog got burnt on his own shit. And I was there with him. They roasted him. But that was the passages, right? The passages.
I got you, brother. Let us finish the presentation. I'm gonna let you tap in. We're gonna all tap in. Go ahead, my brother, enemies public.
Now, when they approached their house and she asked for that warrant, they were supposed to make sure she seen that warrant before they enter that house, because the first person in the house is supposed to have that warrant in his hand, or everything gets thrown out. I've seen it happen. I read a story in my city where they did a drug raid, and the people had it, but it got thrown out because the cop lied. The people had surveillance cameras. They didn't know they had surveillance camera. The cop lied and said he was the first one in the house and he had the warrant, but he was the last person in the house with the warrant. The judge seen that and didn't want to hear nothing they had to say. Said, you lied. You didn't have the warrant in your hand. You wasn't first. You was last. They brought that. The lawyer came in with the surveillance footage. Judge threw the whole case out. And they outright went into these people's house and telling them how it worked in their house. Turned out they at the wrong house, looking for somebody that wasn't even in the house. This most case scenario when it comes to our people, because they already look at us a certain way. And when they approach us different from when they approach other people. I know some of our people don't believe that until it happened to them. But if you had that mindset, just stay in line, your turn will come. Just stay in line, because some of us are lining up to fall a victim instead of just divorcing the system.
That's facts. You know, they expect you just to lay down.
I unmuted myself on a different platform on my shit. But
hey, no, brother, keep talking, bro. Hold on, wait till you interrupt. You ain't listening.
You right. I ain't catch you on. Look. When you playing basketball, you pass that ball.
Can you hear? Mic check. Can you hear?
Yeah. Yes, we can hear us.
I got you. You cut the brother key off. You got it after him.
Well, I passed the ball to my brother. So we make shots.
Got you. Go ahead, Key. You got it.
Oh, yeah.
And dig this. I ain't letting nobody up.
No. That man was speaking.
Hold on, brother. I got you.
I apologize for doing that shit. That man was building, and I ain't listened to the rest of his build.
Mute up. I got you.
You know me. I'm about to mute up.
I got you. Relax. I ain't letting nobody up on the platform until we finish the presentation. If you see somebody talking, please don't interrupt them. Let them talk while you up here. And we're going to pass the mic. Everybody's going to get the mic, brother. I got you.
Oh, yeah. I'm double streaming off my shit right now.
Got it after him.
Look, I'm double streaming off my little YouTube channel. So if y'all on his shit, double stream the shit. Look, that's what we do. We build it. Put it on your community page. Hit it, like, share, and subscribe. You got to support each other. I'm done.
Go ahead, Key.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah, they just expect you to just comply. You know, they expect you to bow to their shield. They don't expect you to try to gain no understanding about the situation. They expect you to bow to their shield. You know, this go back to some like nice Templar shit with the shield and shit like that. They expect you to bow straight off top and let them control the situation. That means you complying with policy. When you don't comply with policy and you stand up for law, that's when you become target in their eyes. Yes. So you got to pay attention to that.
They call you
can't be aggressive. You can't be aggressive when you're standing up for law.
So
by you just standing up for law, that already makes you a threat in their eye. So they already want to harm you. So all you got to do is make one wrong move after that. So I like how that couple handled the situation. They didn't make no sudden moves. They didn't come out, and they also had that baby. But I also feel like if they didn't have that baby, it would have been a little bit different situation. Y'all got it.
Yes, I agree with that, brother. I mean, that's the only reason why they didn't rush in, because the brother had the baby. And, they don't care nothing about the camera. Like the brother said, the lawyer's going to eat that up. They knew they messed up when they got outside. But for the duration of the ordeal, they were insisting that the people just comply with them, not telling them what's going on. Even if you are in that situation, you still have to give them reasonable, articulable suspicion. You got to tell them why you're there. Just come outside. I got to leave my house. You waking me up out of my sleep, my family, telling me to get out my house while I pay the mortgage.
You can't do that like that. Not you, but who you speaking about? Like, nah, we ain't gonna let that. Hold up. Do we allow that shit to happen to us?
But they doing it every day, brother. Because because we're afraid. We don't know we have political power.
Philly
So
OG,
yes, they're
big
doing it
dog,
every
big
day.
dog. Check
And
this
they've
out.
been doing it for the
The
last
nigga said he was with a group of people, right? Look, let me give you a testimony from another nigga that I learned from. And after 40 years, you supposed to learn some shit like this from niggas. He said he was with a group of niggas who was Jamaican shit or something. This ain't on my shit, but some shit I learned from all y'all and all these different sectors. I'm talking about before the sectors. People ain't get this type of knowledge. That's why they were like, and the young people respect it, and that's why they smarter too. And the young people respect it smarter. But look, check this out. He said he was like he was trying to escape from the white man, and that's just a story like who's the boss, this and the third. It ain't about the white man. No, that's a term like the letter J. The letter J was invented 200 years ago.
Fix your clothes.
The letter J was invented like 200 years ago, just like black and white. And now, look, that's my presentation. It wasn't like that. And it was fucked up shit beyond that too. But it wasn't like that. Look, I'm giving y'all your original keys back. Somebody who know what the fuck I'm talking about said that shit.
Gotcha. Appreciate it. Shout out, let me shout out the crowd real quick. Empress, Namaste, OG Green.
I muted myself.
I got you, brother. I got you.
I muted myself for her.
Thank you. If you see somebody talking, brother, don't just talk. Wait till they finish, brother. Trying to be patient, man. Shout out Smoke Signal, Roxanne Hamilton. Go ahead, brother. You got it. Go ahead, mute up, brother. I got you.
Brother, can you play the next video?
Got you.
Okay, that's what they say. They say chime people in. So when it's my turn, hey, big dog, Philly OG. When it's my turn, like, hey, King Genocide, what you feel about that? I might be muted, but I keep myself muted sometimes when I'm not doing shit, but on purpose to be respectful and cordial to our platforms. We don't want. Yeah, he drunk. No, I ain't drunk in 4 days. Look. If I knew me, you appreciate it more.
Right. I have every right to be here. I have every right to video record and take pictures of everything here.
But until I figure out who that person is and who you are,
it has nothing to do with me.
Please don't unmute while the video talks.
Excuse me?
Do
Thank you.
you have your ID on you?
What's the problem?
I just want to check your ID, make sure you're not related to this.
I already told you I don't know that girl.
Okay. Do you have your ID?
Sir, have I committed a crime?
I don't know. I don't know if you're related to this person or not.
I already told you for a third time I'm not.
Okay. Do you have your ID on you?
Sir, I invoke and refuse to waive my Fourth Amendment right. I have every right to be here. I have every right to video record and take pictures of everything here.
I understand that, but until I figure out who that person is and who you are.
That has nothing to do with me, sir.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't. I don't know that person. Fourth time telling you.
Then why are you videoing them?
Because it's my First
I
Amendment
know my rights.
My First Amendment right, and I invoke and refuse to waive all my rights.
What we are witnessing is a masterclass in how to handle a police officer who's trying to abuse his power as he attempts to take advantage of the man behind the camera and violate the cameraman's rights.
Do you have your ID?
Sir, have I committed a crime?
I don't know.
Okay,
I'm trying to figure that out.
I have
good
not
night,
seen
sir.
this brass in this encounter.
Parker, let me know when you're getting information from Parker.
What's your name and badge number? What's your name and badge number?
That's nice.
Huh?
That's nice.
What is your name and badge number?
And this is how the officer responds when asked to identify himself.
wanna come with
The
us?
pettiness is there for the taking.
Can you mute up, please, man? Everybody
A
else
public
mute up,
official in
mute up.
uniform
Thank
must ID themselves upon request.
It's all on my uniform, sir.
I can't see.
Get it from me.
I'm asking you, what's your name and badge number? So you refuse to identify yourself.
Yeah, if you don't want to give
Okay.
me your ID, I don't need to.
I'm
give
not
you
a
my
public
name.
official. I don't have to. You're a.
Read. It's right
I can't see it, sir. I'm asking you.
sorry.
So you refuse to identify yourself right now. And it's your policy, it's CMPD's policy to identify yourself upon request. You work for CMPD.
That's nice.
So it's the policy to identify yourself.
Did you say the mail is anywhere near? No, he's still at home. Let's go. Okay.
Wait, thank y'all. Have a good day.
And just like that, the interaction is over, just as quickly as it began. In case you were wondering, in North Carolina, you are legally allowed to film anything in a public space in which there is no expectation of privacy. This means you can film public areas like parks, sidewalks, police stations, and municipal buildings, as well as retail and commercial properties. There have been numerous cases across this country of police officers attempting to detain or arrest someone, recording or confiscate their phones. However, this is a violation of the First Amendment as a condition of free speech, as seen in 2011 in the case of Gilk v. Cuniff. The First Circuit Court of Appeals ruled that recording police interactions in public spaces is a clearly established right for citizens and is protected by the First Amendment. Additionally, when a law enforcement officer attempts to detain someone or take their phone or camera, it's a violation of the Fourth Amendment, as this is a violation of an individual's freedom from unlawful seizure. If you are pulled over or stopped by police officers, or you see someone else is stopped and choose to record the encounter, follow these guidelines to protect your rights and stay within the law. Ask for the name of the officer or the badge number. Do not interfere with an investigation or interaction. Move back or step back when told to do so. Be polite, calm, and respectful at all times. Do not physically resist an officer. And most importantly, you do not have to stop recording and should record as much of the interaction as possible to protect your rights.
Go ahead, my brother. The enemy's public.
Yeah, these guys get real petty and childish when they don't get their rights. You know, when they don't get it their way. As a matter of fact, when they don't have their way, they get real petty. When they can't get you to comply, they get real petty. And if that man didn't have a camera, he probably would have gotten beaten and his rights violated, more than likely. I tell everybody, any encounter with them, record it. Do not trust these devils as far as you can see them, because they're wicked. They're overzealous. And most of all, they're cowards. They're cowards. Liars. They'll beat your ass and say you assaulted them. And a judge or a commander will see you beat up and co-sign it.
Yes,
I've
sir.
seen the only people I've seen that step to officers, I've seen women do it. They were all women. That's two were sisters and one was a white officer, female officer. They actually reported the crooked cop and got them fired and arrested, and they're doing prison time. One in Buffalo, New York, one in Rochester, New York, and I forgot where the white girl was at. All I know is she stopped a white cop from macing a brother, and he ended up choking her. And then she ended up getting suspended when they just passed the law. Now, not only that, they didn't just pass the law; they just started enforcing the law that you have to intervene if you see an officer getting out of hand. You got to intervene. She did what the departmental policy told her she's supposed to do, and she got choked as a result of it. Now, it takes a special kind of wicked. Bad enough, they shoot us, they beat us, but it takes a special type of wicked for a cop to sick a dog on somebody and have a dog bite you. A two-legged dog sicking a four-legged dog on somebody. And having a canine dog, which really should be sniffing bombs and drugs, they sick the dog on you and have the dog bite you. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's like the worst.
Yeah, that shit fucked up. And now, you know what? Something else is fucked up. I ain't even fucking put my shit on live with the double stream until like right now. I thought that shit was on the shit. This shit was scheduling. My bad. And y'all gave us some great content. I apologize. And I love y'all. Yeah, hey, you know what? We the people is building the uniting shit. And then not only that, people got different perspectives, schools of thoughts. I ain't talking about this shit. Well, yeah, keep going. The enemy's public. Exactly.
Yet, the only thing can stop that is us. We have incredible restraint when we deal with them, but we'll pull it when it comes to each other. We have to reevaluate that and change that. We have to recognize who our friends are, our loved ones are, and our enemy, and go accordingly.
Let me break it down. Let me break it down before I go back to the story. Check this out. The enemy's public. Check this out, right? Are you African American or
no? I'm not. No.
I know you. I know you're not. But look, a person look. Like, I'm not one of them either.
Cut that man off,
brother.
You can't hold your composure. I'm gonna kick you out, bro. You just purposely cut that man off. Come on, bro.
Keep interrupting, bro. You guys stop interrupting, bro.
The reason why I gave
brother, you're doing it again after he asked you not to. Brother Big Dog was being very patient with you, and I am too, brother.
I'm trying. Hey, look,
let us finish. Let us finish. Let us finish, brother.
Go ahead, brother. I got you.
You know, we have to do better with when we come among our people. We have to be correct mind, sound, and body. You know, it's all good, but we can't allow people to just run over us and do anything they want to us. And that's when our unity comes. Our numbers is our strength. The reason why they can do what they do to us because they see our vulnerability. They see our lack of unity. They see our lack of organization. They see our lack of having the same mindset. They see that. And that's why they approach us the way they approach us and feel they can do what they do to us. And we have to stop that. Again, we can't go to their brother asking them to do something about them. We have to do something about them. It's our condition. And the only reason why they want to keep us, you know, in a certain tax bracket and certain status is to exercise power over us. Yet we don't realize the power we have collectively. Some of us feel like we know it all. I know for certain I don't, but I know for a fact that if we combine what we know it all, or at least we know enough to deal with what we got to deal with. Brother, can you do the
next video?
The next video, please.
Gotcha.
Apologies.
Okay, yeah, here we go. The canine, here we go.
Attacking a person walking down the street.
Downtown gets a little wild, but nothing like this. No, nothing like this at all.
Nathan Lux is the one who shot the video from his second-floor apartment at 13th and Columbia. He says it all started when he noticed some police activity around 5 o'clock Sunday evening.
It just seemed like a little stakeout thing, and one of the residents here was taken into custody.
According to Lux, as officers put that person in the back of a police cruiser, a police canine bolted across the street and attacked somebody walking on the sidewalk.
As I was recording, all I was like hearing was just heel, heel, heel. And so the dog was not listening to any of the commands whatsoever. And then just the follow-up, there was even like restraining the dog or pulling the dog off of the guy. It took a lot of effort, it looked like.
It happened so quickly. It just happened quickly.
Joe Gold witnessed the whole thing, and he's relieved to know the person attacked suffered only minor injuries.
I felt bad for the guy that got bitten, but I also felt bad for the officer that lost control of the dog. But then I thought to myself, well, they're going to probably have a lawsuit over this or something.
That's unclear. What is clear is that this attack will stick with witnesses for some time.
For some guy to kind of walk up behind and then just get attacked was pretty appalling.
All right, the Vancouver Police Department did release a statement. In part, it says the department will be conducting an internal investigation related to the incident, and the canine will be removed from deployment until the investigation is complete. We'll, of course, stay on top of the story and pass along any new updates on air and online. For now, Dan, back to you.
All right, Mike, thank you so much.
Brother Key, Brother OG, Brother King, do you see this? The dog, just like the police officer, when they fuck up, is placed on administrative leave.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
The dog.
Like when it comes to we're not treated fairly.
But if that was my dog that just wandered across the street, it would have gotten shot. They put a dog
put to sleep. It'd have been put to sleep.
Exactly. Euthanized. That's what they do when that dog was out of control, and obviously that dog was trained to do what it did. It's an animal, it has its own mind anyway. But with that training, that most case scenario, a Caucasian man is given that dog. Is trained that dog to not be, because the German Shepherd, I had German Shepherds all my life, and it never moved until I said so. That dog was trained to do exactly what it did. And it dawdled across the street and just attacked somebody. And just like cops do when they just attack somebody because they're angry, acting just as animalistic as that dog did, it gets placed on administrative leave. I must be losing my damn mind.
That's crazy. I had a dog that defended a family member, bit the person who was fighting them, and they put my dog to sleep for doing what it was supposed to do. This dog get administrative leave for doing what it ain't supposed to do. That's crazy.
Yes. Yes, it's crazy, brother. You can play that video, good brother.
Got you. Let me shout out 56 Aces, Garfield, and Bernice. Grand Rising. Welcome to the platform. Let's go.
Evening, he told deputies over and over again he could not breathe, but the jailers he struggled against taunted him right up until his death. An exclusive News Channel 5 investigation is raising questions about the way William Jeanette died.
Our investigative reporter Ben Hall obtained exclusive video, and we do need to warn you, parts are disturbing.
Three Marshall County jailers called for police backup in May of last year after William Jeanette refused to get into a restraint chair.
Where are you?
When Lewisburg police officer Christopher Stallings runs into the room, Jeanette yells that corrections officers are trying to kill him. They quickly get Jeanette to the floor, where he will die minutes later.
It just breaks my heart because he was someone worth knowing, you know?
His daughter, Dominique Jeanette, says her 48-year-old father was terrified and desperately needed help.
And that's just something that really sticks with me, of how scared he must have been and how alone he must have felt.
Jail logs show Jeanette had been hallucinating and detoxing after being arrested 2 days earlier for resisting arrest, public intoxication, and indecent exposure. Officers had put him in a restraint chair the day before because he was hitting his head on the cell wall. But on May 6th, officers tried again. As you see on these jail cameras with no sound, things escalated quickly.
They should have been more aware. They should have been trained properly, and they weren't.
Dominique is suing Marshall County and the
shout out my
Lewisburg
brother
Police
D. Allen
Department
Warren
because of what happened
and
after
Samantha
her
White.
father was on the ground.
Grand Rising.
Stay down, you stupid son of
Flat motherfucker.
With other officers now around him, Jeanette is face down on the floor in handcuffs.
Get up! Get up!
Despite his screams, officers put pressure on his back and then call for leg restraints.
Go get your leg restraints. Before you do anything else, get leg restraints.
Seconds later, Jeanette says for the first time that he can't breathe. Listen to what a female officer says back to him. Officers stay on his back and even bend his legs to his back until finally one officer says, "Be careful of suffocating him."
Hey, easy, easy. Remember, it's fictional asphyxiation, guys. Got it. That's why I'm not on his lungs. Let him breathe.
Jeanette's last words are, "I'm good." But an officer with his knee on Jeanette's back talked back to him.
Oh, you ain't good. You gonna lay right there for a minute.
That's the exact opposite of what this generally accepted police training has taught officers to do for at least the last 25 years.
We showed the video to law professor and former police officer Seth Stoughton. He's co-written a book evaluating police uses of force.
When the handcuffs come on, they should have rotated the guy to the side.
He was disturbed by what he saw and said police departments have been trained since the mid-90s about the dangers of positional asphyxiation, suffocating someone by sitting on their back in what's called the prone position.
There's approximately a 3-minute and 43-second period after officers have applied handcuffs where they keep the individual in the prone position, and that's not acceptable.
Like, all that he wanted was help, and all that he got was hate. Like, it's not right.
Jeanette's daughters remember him as a father of 5 who drove a cement truck to support them. He'd been arrested before, but did not have a long rap sheet.
There were so many people that could have just said, this isn't right, and no one said that this wasn't right.
The autopsy lists the cause of death as acute combined drug intoxication with meth in his system, but it also listed asphyxia as a contributory cause of death and ruled it a homicide.
It just feels like my heart is constantly being ripped out of my chest. And there's no peace to that.
This family hopes other departments learned from what happened to their dad.
He's not there, like, to take me home anymore.
A grand jury looked at this case but decided not to bring criminal charges against the officers. We asked the sheriff and the attorney for the county for a comment, but they declined. Ben Hall, News Channel 5, investigates.
Thank you, Ben. For full transparency and to give you the complete picture of what happened, we have posted the entire video on our website. Just go to the Investigate section of newschannel5.com.
Evening, he told
that man being drunk should not have been a death sentence. And I've seen times when the police went to a suicide call, somebody's threatening to kill themselves, and the police end up killing them. What sense is it that a police officer come to the scene if he ends up killing the person? And what sense is it to stop somebody for not having a seatbelt on and ending up killing them because they didn't have a seatbelt on? You stopped them over a traffic violation. Like you really care if that person hit the brakes and go through that damn window. As a matter of fact, you might as well have let them go through the damn window if you shoot them center mass in their chest, because they didn't respect your perceived authority and you get cocky and you get upset because they're not obeying you, being in compliance with you, and you end up killing them over a traffic violation. Instead of just when you first walk into the car telling them why you stopped them and giving them a ticket for not having a seatbelt on, but the main thing they want to do when they stop you is lock you the hell up. They want to lock you up. They can care less about your safety, because why? You're not safe around them. People should not cringe when a police car drive by them. They should say, I'm good. They go to police, I'm good. But no, in our communities, our people cringe when they see a police car, because we know emphatically they're not there to protect us or serve and protect us. Occupying forces. That's what they are in our communities. And we don't need them. We don't. Because why? Somebody try to come in my house, I got something for them. They're going to need EMS, not the police. We don't need the police. We don't need no type of slave code of laws or occupying forces driving around parading as law enforcement. Yet the only thing they enforce is their feelings. That's what they enforce, their feelings, not the law. We are, myself, Brother Keith Norful, Big Dog Philly OG, we are attempting to show our people why we should divorce this system. That's what we're attempting to do.
Oh yeah, good brother. I want to second you. Everything you said, if we could have a second, most of the people who have an issue with divorce in the system, like you said, they got a comfortable seat, but let the situation happen to,
yes,
where that seat get questioned, to where they good shoe on the other foot. Let them feel how so-called black they are.
Yeah.
And they'll be feeling the same way.
And what's sad is when our people get in those positions, they act like they act worse than the white man in that position, because they got to prove themselves to that position.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. They behave like they have risen above the condition of their people. That's how they act when they get those jobs. They're not one of us. They're one of them.
With all these positions.
Yes, I mean,
you tap in my brother King Genocide, just saying, go in there. And me's pup.
It's like, when some of us get these positions, again, we feel like we are not one of our people. And then a lot of us will treat our people worse than, our obvious enemy would. Again, I say hiring one of us is not the answer if they have the same mindset. I would think one of us would get the job to prevent what happens. That's the only reason why I can see getting that job and taking that job is to prevent what's been happening. But a lot of us get those jobs and they go fit right in. They partake in the same bullshit against their own people. They do the same exact thing. Ice Cube said it, slamming you down to the street top. Black police showing out for the white cop. They do that. And it's always some cornball Negro who want to show the white boys that he's hood. He got street in him. And he's a badass. That's most case scenario when you get one of us on that job. They don't get the job and say, you know what? I got to go in and make sure my people are taken care of and they're not being abused, because that's the only way we can stop it, by being in, unless we're going to divorce the system and start our own thing. When we do something on behalf of our people, if we're going to correct our people's behavior, we got to do it with compassion. We can't do it their way. Their way is barbaric. Sicking a dog on somebody, that cop should have been shot for doing that. Sicking a dog on somebody, or allowing your dog to run across the street and bite somebody who didn't have anything to do with your stop. A random citizen walking down the street gets bit by a police dog because it's out of control. Had a hard time pulling the dog off the man. Both of them are dogs. The police officer's a damn dog. Pig and dog. He both. The dog should have been shot. The cop should have been shot too. But they put the damn dog on administrative leave like they do the cops.
Yeah, and that's wild. And that's the only way it gotta be when it comes to a cop. Because we got these, it's just the job cops. And the just the job cops ain't gonna do good enough for us, because they still fall on the side of on the side of policy.
Yes.
The only way they're gonna serve to serve the law, to really protect and serve on the right side of that, as we take it, they're protecting and serve. They're protecting the policy. They're serving the policy. They're not protecting the people or serving the people. They're protecting the policy and serving the policy.
Yes, sir. But you know what's crazy, Brother Key, is when you'll have police officers who are one of us. They'll go around our communities doing all kinds of stuff with these other cops, victimizing our people. But he don't never mention, why aren't we in Bensonhurst doing this? Why we aren't in white neighborhoods doing this? He'll be participating and victimizing his own people, but they don't do that in white neighborhoods. They don't go there unless they're called. I was telling a brother today at work, all the crime that goes on in Newark, organized crime, you best to believe that the ones involved in that is not living in Newark. They're living in Nutley somewhere, Saddlebrook, Saddle River, in Bergen County, where all the rich people live at. But they're doing dirt in Essex County. But the police don't go up there to Nutley and arrest them for the dirt they do in another county. Those so-called mob bosses who got all the industrial stuff locked down, sanitation locked down, because they strong-arm people. Dirt's being done in Jersey City, but the people who's behind the dirt live in Hoboken. Things we need to understand. The system is not ours. It's not rigged. The system is not rigged. It's working how it was designed and against us. A man said he couldn't breathe, and an officer said, you shouldn't be able to breathe, you bastard. Over misdemeanors. He should have been drying out and let go. But they ended up killing him. Can you show the next video, brother?
You still in, OG?
Yeah, I got you, everybody.
Okay.
Grand rising, everybody. Shout out my brother Rainstorm. Shout out a couple people. Lady Spade, Casey Featherhat, Rainstorm, American Negro, OG Green Machine.
Peace to all the family.
Yes, Lady Spade, the brother King Genocide, my brother Key Norful, myself, Love Child, Samantha White, Shay Pink 40, Hiker, Emperor's Goddess Namaste, Lady Spade, Grand Rising, everybody. We're gonna get to the next video.
Dogs around the Bay Area help keep officers and the
Fair
public
use,
safe.
fair use.
But as I-Team investigator Adam Walser uncovers tonight, even with the best training, things can quickly go wrong, resulting in serious injuries and big bills for you, the taxpayer.
Speed.
Dog's gonna bite you. Get up.
Determination.
Shout out to Boss.
A dazzling sense of
I
smell.
see you out there. Grand Rising.
All used to catch
Flat power to
dangerous
flat power,
suspects, find missing people, and detect drugs, bombs, and bodies. But an I-Team review also found innocent people injured and accusations of local law enforcement misusing dogs.
Well, yeah, that's right down to the bone. So he had been a chunk off.
This grainy dash cam video shows Matthew Pullen stumbling around his front yard after a neighbor called police on him in October 2017.
I was intoxicated, I was drunk, and I really didn't pay no mind to the officers.
Pullen, an admitted convicted felon and recovering addict, talked back to a Northport police officer. A scuffle then broke out.
This is you. That's me on the ground.
According to reports, police used a taser on Pullen 3 times because he didn't follow verbal commands. Then retrieved a dog to apprehend the defendant.
I wasn't running. This is my own house. Why would you even bring your dog out?
This video shows the canine drag Pullen by the arm and bite him multiple times over the course of 3 minutes, during which time Pullen never got up.
You just zoom in on this.
All those screws and wonderful pins.
But David Hare says he wasn't breaking any laws when a Hillsborough County canine attacked him in 2014. According to the report, Hare was a passenger in his friend's truck when a deputy pulled him over for an expired tag. A dog was brought in to sniff for drugs, but didn't find any.
I was just leaning on my cane, speaking with another officer. And the next thing I knew was when the dog had hit me. My arm was tore open. The muscle was tore through here. The shoulder itself, he had yanked. so many times, pulling you around the parking lot.
The county settled Hare's lawsuit out of court earlier this year for $50,000.
What's this done to your life? It's torn to pieces.
We also discovered cases of police dogs even turning on their own.
A Polk County deputy was forced to shoot and kill another deputy's canine on Monday. The Polk County Sheriff's Office saying one of their canine handlers was caring for the dog named Recon, but when he went to check on Recon, the dog bit his hand and would not let go.
In 2017, a St. Petersburg police dog attacked a handler's wife, seriously injuring her. The city paid $100,000 to settle that case. The I-Team found police dog bites have cost taxpayers hundreds of thousands of dollars in settlement payments in the past 3 years alone. Tampa paid $85,000 to settle 2 claims. Hillsborough County paid out $237,500. Northport, where Pullen was bitten, leads the Bay Area in dog bite settlements, paying out $1.4 million for 5 claims since 2016. The city's police chief declined our interview request, saying in an email the city's insurance company settled those cases, and his department has never been found guilty of wrongdoing.
Attaboy.
St. Petersburg Police Chief Anthony Holloway did agree to talk with us about how his officers use canines.
That is a use of force tool, and we want to make sure when we deploy that tool, that
Like
we
I
use it
said,
the
it's
correct way.
always
He
one
says
of
his
our
officers
people
do not bring
that's
dogs
in the
on
lead
every
position.
call.
You don't use these animals for misdemeanor
Always
calls.
our people.
No, we do not. If it's a misdemeanor or an ordinance violation, the dog will not be deployed. It has to be a felony.
Holloway also says his department tracks all dog bite incidents.
If a canine handler has more than 10 bites in 6 months, then it automatically comes to the attention of myself and my command staff, and then we'll review it to make sure there's no issues either with the dog or the handler.
They're friendly dogs, but there's certain things that can turn them very unfriendly very fast.
Retired Officer Kirk
training.
Middleton helped start Tampa PD's canine program in the late 1980s.
You put yourself in a high liability area, and you're responsible for them.
Middleton worked with 3 canines during his career. He says his dogs never accidentally bit anyone on the job, but both his wife and son were bitten at home.
If something happens, he's going to react because of the training that he's been put through, and it may be aggressive towards a person.
David Hare knows that firsthand. But he did not know that the county paid.
What I said was it's always one of our people in a position of power.
Yes, sir.
That's what I said. I'm going to start it back.
A settlement to another victim bitten by the same dog just 5 months earlier until we told him.
So this shouldn't even happen to me.
The canine that bit David Hare left the force in 2014. The Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office told us after that dog had 2 bad bites in 1 year, it was clear he needed to be retired. I'm I-Team investigator Adam Walser taking action for you.
Probably with a full pension, too. Damn dog retiring with a full pension. That is one of the most barbaric things you can do to a person. I can understand if your dog is in your yard, patrolling your yard, if somebody go in your yard, then your dog do what it does, protect your house. But to sick a dog on somebody because you can't catch them or you don't have the fortitude to go and run after a suspect, you send a dog into the woods after somebody to bite them.
I almost had a canine experience.
That's crazy.
I was like, I only had a blunt and I was smoking the shit. And it was just me and my homeboy. So this shit legal now. I'm like, damn. It's like over 20 years ago. And then had a dog on me. But the dog ain't attacked me though. But that shit, look, I knew the fear of that shit motherfucker can bite the fuck out of my ass and motherfucker get away with that shit. But I was smarter than that shit.
You know, that goes from different, you know, who's a trainer, or if the trainer has the dog by the leash. Again, these canines, these dogs have their own mind. And the ones who train the canines, that person is that dog's FTO, field training officer. And whatever that dog does, it was trained by that field training officer. Most case scenario is not one of us. And for that Negro to sit there and talk about it has to be a felon, regardless to what, a dog should be only used to sniff out bombs and drugs. And then they lie when it comes to the damn drugs most of the time. They train the dog to lie.
Shout out my brother, he who enlightens. Much love, bro. Grand rising, everybody. I'm with you, my brother, enemies public. They lie all the time.
They even train the dogs to lie when they sniffing out drugs in a vehicle.
Exactly.
But we're supposed to trust the untrustworthy.
Shout out my brother JJ. I see you out there, bro.
We be trusting them. We don't be trusting them on a whole bunch of other shit, but we're supposed to trust them on this shit. You right? Yeah.
We shouldn't trust them at all. Most of the 99.9999999% of the time, they're not there to help you.
And things in the systems don't work the way we think they
Especially
work.
if you're one of us.
Exactly.
Especially. They'll show more patience with other nationalities. But with us, it's like we're the criminals.
Yes. And even you know, when they're trained in the training and when they're training to shoot center mass or they're training with the dogs, I can assure you that it's one of us they're training with. That's why they act so vicious when it comes to us. And what's crazy about that, you get these self-righteous ass cops that respond to a domestic violence call saying that a man shouldn't beat a woman. He's right. A man shouldn't beat a woman. But why do they beat women? If a woman is not complying with him, he beats her, handle her rough like she's not a woman. And the most calls for domestic violence is cops beating their wives.
Damn. And
that's the most.
They get
that is the most domestic violence calls in law enforcement is cops beating their wives.
You know why? It's because not only they get alcoholism, but because they separated from their wives and their wives think they're going to die in a moment. They love them too much and they don't want them to go through this shit because they're like a hero, a modern day hero to them. But at the same time, they're modern day zero because they don't get recognized at the same time. But see, you got good and bad in everything. You feel me? You got good and bad in everything. I ain't saying I fuck with any particular group of people, but if you doing something good for me, I appreciate that shit.
I mean, I could get with that, but when it comes to this system, it's not for us. Not for us. Because evil outweighs its good. When anything evil outweighs its good, we shouldn't deal with it. We shouldn't participate in it.
But we do got our own neighborhoods and communities that sometimes in the wrong shit where you got this, they be fucking up and then you can't get mad at the old heads for saying y'all fucking up, young niggas. Like when I was fucking up as a young nigga, I listened to my old. I'm old head. Look, you can consider me old head. They be calling me out and shit. That's where I got to. That's the status I got to. OG. You feel like what's up, OG? No bullshit. But nah, we graduated to a high level of maturity that where we understand this shit. Certain shit ain't right. Yeah, we adapt and we learn and we take in this shit, but certain shit ain't right and we shouldn't be portraying that shit onto our people.
Hey, we're going to go to the next video.
There's no doubt in your mind that dog was cued to alert on that car?
Yes, correct.
Tonight, News Channel 5 Investigates has uncovered serious questions about the drug dogs that police use to justify searches along Tennessee's interstates. That investigation discovered those dogs may not be as reliable as people think.
And as a result, innocent people could end up being treated like common criminals. News Channel 5's chief investigative reporter Phil Williams continues his exclusive investigation. Phil.
Well, as you know, this part of our investigation began when a California police officer and his wife contacted us about their own experience right here in Middle Tennessee, an experience with officers looking for suspected drug money that they can seize to.
Yeah, I just wanted to say something real quick. Basically, these cops have diplomatic immunity, just like these politicians and these so-called presidents and vice presidents. That's why you have never seen a president locked up. They have diplomatic immunity. This corporation gave them diplomatic immunity. Finish the stream. The video, my bad.
To fund their agency.
Hey guys, how you doing today?
This dash cam video shows how the encounter began.
It just happened so fast, and I was upset and I was tired.
Lisa and Ronnie Hankins were on their way back home to California after a cross-country trip for a family funeral when they got stopped in Dixon County by an interstate interdiction agent with the 23rd Judicial District Drug Task Force, supposedly for a traffic violation.
Come on, have a seat in my truck for me. It's safer there.
I got upset when he took my wife out of the car. There's no reason to take her out of the car.
We say there's not anything illegal in it. Do you mind if I search it today to make sure?
I have talked to my husband.
When Lisa refused to give him permission,
I said, I haven't done anything for you to search my car.
And that was not the answer he wanted to hear.
Nope. I can tell he was getting upset with me.
Run your dog.
agents brought out a drug dog. Within seconds, the dog sat on the driver's side.
Much
That's
love,
how it's
Emperor's
supposed to
Goddess.
show
I
it's
see.
picked up the smell of
We
drugs.
got my brother.
We ran a dog and the dog's alerted on the vehicle.
Rainstorm
so
on the
we're
pen.
searching it, okay?
The couple no longer had a choice.
He already made up his mind what he was going to do.
As a federal police officer with the U.S. Marine Corps, Ronnie Hankins immediately had his suspicions.
100%. There's no doubt in my mind. They cued that dog.
There's no doubt in your mind that that dog was cued to alert on that car?
Yes, correct.
We
Fair
showed the
use,
video
fair
to Auburn
use.
veterinarian Professor Lawrence Myers. He's a nationally recognized expert on how detection dogs work. The first thing he noticed, there's no microphone on the handler, raising all sorts of questions.
Is the handler giving any audible cues to the dog or just simply saying sit?
So in this case, we don't hear what he's saying to the dog.
Correct. Not a clue.
Myers also noticed that the officer keeps his hands to himself on the passenger side, but as he rounds the car, that suddenly changes.
The officer pointed at the spot where the dog eventually sat before the dog sat. That's actually a cue.
Intentional?
I don't think so.
Myers said it could be a training issue.
Dogs take their cues from people. I must go investigate. What is he pointing at? And having stopped and paused in the whole thing, the officer then releases tension on the leash. The dog goes, sit.
Our investigation also uncovered another traffic stop where one interdiction agent from the 23rd takes his dog around a vehicle once, twice, 3 times without getting an alert. Instead of accepting the result, he blames the dog's arthritis. That's when another officer brings out his dog. After 2 rounds, he gets an alert, finally giving officers a reason to search.
One of them is definitely wrong. Which one?
In fact, a thorough search of the truck found no evidence of drugs or anything illegal.
The dog doesn't alert, so they assume there must be something wrong with the dog.
Right. And when the dog alerts and nothing is found, there must be some reason that it did alert.
A few years back, researchers from the University of California, Davis set up a test inside a church, supposedly to see how well drug and explosive detection teams could find contraband that had been hidden inside. The dogs hit 225 times, but there was a catch. There were no drugs or explosives anywhere, suggesting the dogs can sometimes react to what they sense from their handlers instead of what they actually smell.
In fact, a review of reports kept by the 23rd shows that out of 24 alerts this year, in 15 cases, officers did not come up with any contraband that they could seize. Still, those reports show officers wrote up why they thought they got the alerts. The car was a California rental. A friend could have had marijuana the night before. Or officers spotted what looked like marijuana shake or residue in the carpet.
That's wishful thinking.
The dog could be wrong.
Oh, absolutely. Dogs are frequently wrong.
But they don't want to put that down in their report.
And I don't know why.
There is no reason that they should have violated our civil rights against search and seizure. They shouldn't even stopped us. There was no reason to stop us.
Winnie Hankins says that as a police officer, he knew his rights, but that still did not protect him from what he believes was an illegal search.
If this happened to you, what does that say to you about the constitutional rights of people who pass through this area every day?
There's no telling how they get violated.
Again, no drugs were found in that car. As a result of the election of a new DA, there is, however, new leadership at the 23rd Drug Task Force, and those officials are reacting to our investigation. They are putting in place strict new requirements about videotaping such searches, and if officers don't like the results they get from one drug dog, like we saw in that video, they will not be allowed any longer to use a second one. And any seizures of cash or property must now be approved by the task force director himself.
So why don't we have audio from the dog handler?
That's a good question, and question we've been asking. His audio should have been recorded on a camera in his car, but when we asked for that video from that camera, we were told that for whatever reason, it doesn't exist.
And the dog hitting, we heard from the experts saying he doesn't think that that was intentional.
That's right. Based on what he saw, he thinks it was certainly a training issue.
Sure.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Phil. Well, if you have information on something we should investigate, we want to hear from you. Send us your tips. The email address, investigate@newschannel5.com, or call 615-244-NEWS.
Fair use, fair use. Go ahead, my brother, enemies public. You got it. Let everybody else tap in afterwards.
They always go back and refer to the training issue. It is a training issue. He was trained to do exactly what he did, and he did it. Now, he did that because he wanted to justify that illegal stop, hoping that it was some contraband in that car. The dog sat down. He cued the dog to sit down to have justification for searching the car. And if it was something in the car, he would have had a lockup, a good bust. The reason why they called the second dog is to justify using the first dog in the damn first place. They had no reason, again, no reasonable articulable suspicion for even searching the man's car, and didn't even respect that the man was a cop himself. Didn't even respect that. They searched the man's car illegally, cued the dog to sit to, suggest that there's drugs in the car. They thought they had a bus. They only do that because they had no reason to search the car in the first place. No reason. When you deny them access to your car in a physical search, they don't like that, so they'll get the canine.
And then it can signal and give a positive search, and that can just ruin your fucking shit.
That's justification. That's justification for doing the search, because you can't do, if they deny you the search, because you have to have a warrant or probable cause to search somebody. So they use the canine to justify the physical search. Yet they found nothing. It is a training issue. They train those cops to do the illegal shit.
And that's fucked up in the first process, but in the second process is doesn't hold water in the court, which is admiralty, water law. Well, I ain't gonna say that shit. I ain't saying it right, but you get what I'm saying. In the first part, what you said is true. And I agree with that shit. That shit fucked up. But once they try to bring it to the higher courts, that shit don't work.
I yield the mic to anybody who want to take it.
Hey, we got my brother Rainstorm on the panel. Welcome, Rainstorm.
Hey, man. Salute
Peace to my
y'all,
brother
man.
Rainstorm. Peace, brother.
Hey, peace to y'all, man. I everything that brother said was totally 110% right. Right. They some dirty motherfuckers. I'm for real. I mean, I've never been charged with anything until recently. OG already know all this. I'm preaching to the choir. But the thing is, I was talking to my partner, right? A good friend of mine. I live with him in Atlanta, and he got to saying on my way down. Right now, I'm in North Carolina. On my way back to the crib, right, to deliver this load, and he kind of pissed me off. I said, "Man, you pissing me off, man," because he said, "Until y'all come together, all this." He on the same level. He understand what we talking about. He ain't no dumb motherfucker. We like all from everything we've been talking about, right? He like, man, I until y'all come together, I really don't, want to go that way. I was like, man, I'm gonna be like, I'll be in the front row to you, man. We cool, but I'll be like, no, keep your ass over there. I said, it's too many of us from all the shit we've been talking about, right? I'm like, man, it really pissed me off. I said, man, you pissing me off. Cause you looking at it like, oh, once you get together, then I'll come over there.
Yeah.
I said, no. I said, that ain't cool, man. And he's a Mason. Okay. I said, when I ask you something about the Masons, you be like, it's a secret. And I said, okay, then. Well, goddamn it, it's a secret right now. You ask him, like I said, he's he's my best man at my wedding 100 years ago. All that. I said, man, you got to stop all this. I know every goddamn thing, because you don't. I said, you don't listen to OG, you don't listen to Top Cat, you don't listen to Dane, you don't listen to Empress Holbert. I said, work with me. You know what I mean? I'm like, man, you talking in a fucking circle. But he said, I do tell people. I said, tell them what? I tell my children. I said, fine. I get that. But you ain't got a channel where you're telling motherfuckers, he knows his grandmama, she was cool as shit. We used to kick it with her. Choctaw, all that. I said, but you ain't said a goddamn thing. You sitting over here talking this mate. Soon as I ask your ass, what's up with the Masons? Oh, you gotta be one. I said, man, you don't realize, man, you know what? We still cool. Like I said, he a childhood friend. We've been friends since, I don't know, ever since high school. I'm 53. I'm like, man, I don't want to hear this shit. I said, hey, OG live. What you call live? Hey, ask them the questions you telling me. Well, why come we can't ask them? And you won't do it, but you'll listen to Sports Center. Who's going to what team and all that shit. Go ahead, cuz.
Yes, I mean, I agree with you, brother, wholeheartedly. They into that sport and play, brother, but when it comes to the seriousness, they don't want to hear that.
Yeah,
why?
But I asked them though.
They want to be entertained, brother.
No, you're 110% right. I was like, man, what's up with Prince Hall? That's what you part of. You got to be one of us. I don't want to be part of you motherfuckers. Why the fuck are they helping us? See, I realized, this is why I said, man, you're doing this for you.
Hey, can I go next? Because I understand.
Go ahead, cuz.
Let me go in, because I'm about to clarify what you're saying. Look, we consider a group of people. Everybody, look, we a whole bunch of group of peoples. Just like white and black don't exist, and the letter J didn't exist 200 years ago, right? But everybody officially targets us as a people, and we ain't working the fucking together, and we too separated. But we need to be on our own boundaries. I get that. We need to be on our boundaries, but we need to be in a separate space to combat the shit that's going against us as a collective. Damn, did I say that shit right?
I follow you. I follow you.
Come on. Build off what I just said. Because we don't build this shit. This ain't a fucking house of cards. This shit we've been building. This is the beginning of time. We've been saying this shit and people don't ignore it. This is the way the life transfer. Look, yeah, keep going.
No. What I'm saying is, you saying build it for us. I come. This is what pisses me off. I'm gonna wait for you to get it done. Then I'm gonna march my little ass on over there. Man, fuck you, man. You ain't helping.
Brother, a lot of us is like that, brother. We jump on the bandwagon after we get something established. They don't want to help establish nothing.
That's what I said.
You know why? You know why? Because they don't believe in it.
We got leaders and they scared. I'm scared to be a leader. You know why I'm scared?
Because they don't believe in it.
Because we get stuffed out. We get
Go ahead,
stuffed.
OG.
We going
Go
to
ahead.
the next
Let
video.
OG
Please
say
mute
something.
up.
Going to the next video. We got mute up.
OG, put it back on me after the video, please. I ain't gonna forget
Hold
that.
your thoughts,
About to
brother.
say.
That's all. You got it.
Oh, okay. You want?
Hold your
You want me to
thoughts.
go in
Write
now?
it down. Something.
Look, I'm gonna break it down.
Hold your thought. Hold your thought.
Hold your thoughts.
What did he do?
Yes, sir.
That's what I'm saying. For what? For what?
From Louisiana.
For what? For what?
Yeah.
I don't even live in Louisiana, so how do I have a? You don't know my name, so how can you tell
Fair
me?
use, fair use.
Sir.
Sir, stop.
Clarence,
Y'all
hold
free
on.
coming.
Okay, well you Sir. You just pulled up in front of my house and then I don't trust because you shaking like you scared or something.
Okay.
You shaking like you scared.
He don't live in Louisiana.
I don't even live in Louisiana. How the hell would I have a warrant in Louisiana?
Quentin, you already said your name was that.
My name is not Quentin. What the f is wrong with you?
Sir, his name is not Quentin.
Quentin. Then let's see the ID when we're done.
Okay, hold on.
It's three different names. You just walked up here and told me three different names.
Hold on.
The third name you just no.
Clear.
No, I'm not gonna be the next. You feel?
No.
No.
His name is not Quentin.
Quentin.
Let's do this and be done. I got no problem cause I got
You just stopped in front of my f***ing house.
Yes, I know who you are.
It's you know what's my name? Man, that. You shaking like you scared. I'm not gonna let you put me in handcuffs.
Please stop. Please stop.
My name is not no f***ing Quentin. You don't even know my name and tell me I got a warrant in Louisiana?
Okay. Yes.
Do I look like a... Show me the picture. Show me the picture.
Okay, wait.
Just walk with me.
No,
walk with me.
No.
Please, he's not going nowhere. He's not going nowhere.
I need your supervisor.
I am the supervisor. Come on.
Well, let me see your stripes. Well, I need to know. I need somebody else to the car. No, you're not going to give me to your car. No.
Sir.
Put my yard on my property.
Calm down.
You stop.
Who are you looking for?
That's
His name is not
Quentin. You think I'm from because I got dreads or something? No. You just pulled up in front of my house and told me I got a warrant in Louisiana. So what? That's my dog.
That's our dog.
That's
our dog.
Go in the house. Look, man,
sir, that's our dog.
Don't you touching me while you shaking. You need to step back and calm down. No, that.
Get my phone out of the car.
There you got him running.
Get my phone out of the
car. Calm down.
Here's the deal. Doesn't that look a lot like
No, don't look like
that's
me.
Not
What's wrong with you, man? What you trying to say? Because I got dreads and I'm black, that's me?
No.
That's not him.
She can see that's not me.
Oh my God.
No, what? Stop.
My name, you ain't got no. You ain't.
No, please stop. Please stop. Please leave him alone, please. No, please, that is not him. Please leave him alone.
Get out of my yard,
I need to report on this.
No, you need to get the f out of my yard. You just said I'm somebody named Quentin. You got dreads and he black.
Come on.
What the f is that?
Okay, come on.
Nah, what's that? Okay. Now you want to leave, right?
No, I want to do a report on this.
No, you need to get somebody here that's over you because you just made the biggest mistake. Why the you pull in front of my yard because I'm black with dreads and tell me I got a warrant?
Okay. No, he just
racist.
our kids was out here. No,
the kids.
Okay.
Like, we need to get this over here. Man,
But they didn't even answer his name.
let me see. No, let me see.
Fair use, fair use.
Now, he seen that man walking his dog with his children and profiled him. And wanted to put that man in jail.
Yeah, we all Tyrone.
That sack of shit straight up profiled their brother and said you was walking a dog. Why? Because the brother and the sister got a nice house with a nice car parked in the driveway with a dog living the life that that bastard wanted to live, and he couldn't stand it and wanted to take that man away from his family.
And we could talk about that shit because it's not something that we just saying. This shit happening and other people saying that shit too. We ain't scared to say about it because it's happening to us directly, but it's happening to them indirectly. And it's gonna affect them because they test this shit out on us first. Now fuck that. This shit ain't gonna happen to our community first and the worst before you even fucking test trial whatever the fuck you talking about and whatever you bullshitting about. Not what you talking about. Look, I said it right. Yeah. But
Yeah. You know, the crazy part is he knew that wasn't the same person. His fucking racism kicked in his head and it made that the same person. It made him Jamal. It made him Tyrone. You know what I'm saying? That's the crazy shit to me, man. Like,
yes,
he knew that wasn't who he was looking for off top. He's so fucking racist and so mad and judgmental. It made him that person in his mind.
It's a privilege and it's an entitlement, right? So because they protected by and they supposed to be is black people, and that's why we just went through one of the recent shits that we shouldn't have even heard about. Damn, you know what? I need to stop talking. Yeah, my bad. Yeah, I'm trying to be cordial, but I want to say some shit that I don't supposed to say.
Yet they feel we're supposed to cooperate and just allow them to just kidnap us. Just kidnap us. Cooperate. Just come here with me. Let me put these shackles on you and take you away. And we'll work this out later. No. That's not how it goes. And we need to stop allowing that. See, what bothers me is when it's a group of us, it's enough of us to deal with a situation, and we'll allow two of them. And
hold on.
Let me finish, please. We allow two of them to come around us and do what they want. We have to stop that because it's our community and they are tyrants amongst us. We can't allow people just come in our community like the George Floyd thing. That couldn't have happened where I'm at. Derek Chauvin would have got off that brother's neck, and that Asian cop that was keeping people at bay would have been asleep. I'm not going to stand by and watch a man die right before my eyes, somebody sitting on his neck. No, not going down. Not going down on my watch. He would have straight up got up off him. We'd have got him off him. You're not doing that in front of me. Or anybody with mind like mine, you're not going to do that where I'm at. That'll never happen. And I live in a small city, 5 miles by 5 miles. But don't get caught slipping walking through. That bothers me when we stand around and allow stuff like that.
We gotta stand against that. You know, we gotta put it into our minds that we gotta do something. You know, because if we don't do something, nobody's gonna do something. You know, it's
Yes,
just
sir.
gonna continue to happen. And you know, whether that's with force or, you know, by legal action, you
Indeed.
know, I'm not calling out for any specific restraint, but one needs to be taken, period.
Yes.
All right. So our accountability relies on ourselves. And we understand that we don't went through some shit, but we actually care about each other and we want to do something better about this shit. But actually the construct of the matrix is controlled by what they would say the white man, but like it's not the white man. The word white and Jesus and it
Hey,
says
hey, brother, if you gotta hold your tongue, then I think this the wrong platform for you to be on, cause we ain't holding our tongue over here.
oh God, hey,
So
big
if
dog.
you feel like
Hey,
that,
look, big
you
dog.
should
Hey,
get
look,
off the
hey, look.
panel, brother. If you
Right,
feel like
you right.
that, you should get off the panel. This the wrong place for you.
No, you right. No, what I'm saying is this is
Or
system
mute up.
created.
I'm being nice. I'm trying to be respectful.
So this is
We ain't
system.
kissing nobody's ass over here.
Nah.
Nobody.
We not. But this is
So if
system
you scared to
created.
speak up, then you need to get off the platform. Go back in
Ooh,
the chat.
you know what? I'm gonna condemn my time for
Shout
now.
out.
And then when y'all come to a courageous point, I'm gonna be not only honest but build myself off
Shout
of
out
you. Right?
Chocolate Earth
You right?
Foundation, AD.
Hey, OG Philly,
Shadi,
big dog. I'm talking like a condemned building.
Kia Winans,
That's
and
what I
Kia
am.
Brown. Shout out y'all.
Hey, look, hey, somebody build me up. Nah, somebody build me up. And then I
Nah, the only thing you can bail out is mute up, brother.
not bail out. I
Hey,
said
we gotta move on, brother. We gotta move on.
I got you.
We gotta move
We're
on.
gonna go to another video, man. I asked, dig this. Real rap. I'm gonna let I act like we giving a presentation. When we finish the presentation, you could tap in.
Yes, sir.
We
Yes,
ain't
sir.
finished the presentation. It's like it's going in one ear and out the other, brother. Relax.
Not with me.
Everybody
oh,
gonna get to talk.
my bad. You guys,
Appreciate all of y'all, man. We're going to the
And
next video. Mute up. I got you. If you see the brother talking, wait till he finished, then say something.
I almost lost my life behind it.
The woman in this disturbing video, Latika Hancock, emotional as she relives Monday's encounter with Butler Township Police.
Why I said, I'm going to be quiet now. I'm going to stand up. I'm not going to be George Floyd. They're not going to get me on the ground.
Police body cam video is showing us what led up to the moment a Butler Township police officer punched Hancock 3 times in a McDonald's parking lot.
She refused to take my dollar to give me 30 cents after I paid it for extra cheese. So then she got an attitude because I asked her for a refund and called the police because she didn't want to give me back my money.
Officers Todd Stanley and Tim Zeller listened to her side of the story, then asked her for her first and last name to issue a trespass notice.
If you don't stop, you're going to end up going to jail. Stop.
Hancock, Hancock, write it down.
Calm down.
I'm not giving you nothing. I already said it.
Okay, you're under arrest.
No, I'm not.
Put your hands behind your back.
No, I'm not.
You are under arrest for failure to identify.
It quickly escalated. Officers grab her, and Zeller pulls out his taser. Hancock tries to reason, but it's too late. Officer Stanley strikes her 3 times in the face and head.
You punched me on your own will.
No, it says
I didn't punch you.
Feet up.
I didn't resist.
Feet up.
No, I didn't. I'm a female. Look at my mouth.
Stop.
Do you think your officers used excessive force here?
I'm not going to comment on that until the entire investigation is complete.
Tuesday, the police department launched an investigation into the conduct of both officers, but only Officer Stanley is on paid administrative leave. Hancock and her legal team say it's not enough.
And we're asking him to be terminated and to be convicted and to be charged. Yes, both officers, and to be charged. That's what we're asking. And we want an independent investigator. This must stop. These officers and their brutality and their, condescending approach
Attorney Michael Wright says officers injured his client due to the use of force, and he says Butler Township and McDonald's played a role in what happened to her. Ms. Hancock, what does justice look like for you?
They taught us all through growing up.
You want to hold these officers accountable.
Be accountable. Every action has a consequence.
Like I said earlier, these police officers would show up to a domestic violence call being self-righteous, saying how much a man shouldn't hit a woman, and look at the behavior he displayed against the woman, repeatedly punching her in her face. A man punching the woman because she wouldn't comply with his perceived authority. They spoke to the young sister. That should have been it. But no, they wanted to escalate it to something bigger than it should have been. Punching her in her face as if she don't have brothers, a father, uncles, men in her family that can come see him. That's the mentality and the attitude we have to take. Because if you don't, your daughter will fall a victim to that, meaning you will fall a victim to that. They don't have no type of reluctancy or apprehensiveness about putting their hands on our women. That's where it's become, because we did nothing in the first place. We allow this to linger and escalate to where it is.
How can you be a man outside the household? You can't pretend. If we demand.
Excuse me, I'm not done, brother. I'm not done. If we would have stopped this from the beginning, it would never have escalated to where it's at now. It's to the point where they beat our daughters. They put their knees on the necks of our daughters. They hold our daughter down. They slam our daughters out their desks. They grabbed our daughters by their hair because we did nothing from the beginning. That's the reason why they do what they do, because we did nothing from the beginning. We have to be willing to die for our women. You touch my wife, you're about to kill me. Why? Coming straight at you. Tunnel vision. Touch my daughter, you're about to kill me. And that's the mentality and attitude we have to take. They're coming in our houses now disrespecting us. That's why this system, we got to get out of it. Got to divorce this system. I yield the mic.
We got to stop participating, when it comes to giving up our rights. We got to let it be known that we don't comply. Because everything you say and everything you do gonna be held against you. They tell you that. So it don't matter if you trying to plead or be nice, and it don't matter. It's already against you once you give up your rights and once you comply. So you don't give up no rights.
Yes.
You don't give up your rights, so they give you The Miranda rights. They tell you once they read them rights, they tell you what rights you got. You got the right to do this. You got the right to do that. How's they telling you what rights you got when you had rights when they came to you before you gave them up?
Exactly. See, the brother JJ, the enlightened one, said it clear, 100% correct. We had to be ferocious in our unity. See, our problem is, I'm going to go back to what OG said earlier. The religion teaches us to be docile and to be obedient, okay? Because we think we got an award if we do. We need to guard and protect our people. And we the only one believe that bullshit. They don't believe that bullshit. They teach it to us, but they don't believe that bullshit. Because you go around a house with trying to mess with one of theirs, you're gonna see what happens. So we need to get out of that and be the God that give life and take it. That's what we need to be. Be that God that give life, give it and take it. Enough of this foolishness. Because foolishness got us to where we are now.
Hey, we're gonna play another video, brother, and I picked up a couple more also.
Yes, sir. Indeed.
Got you. This one, the origin. I think it's short. Origin of policing in America.
Okay.
It seems really trite to say if you don't study history, you're doomed to repeat it. But nothing illustrates that more than the history of policing.
Policing, in one form or another, has existed since colonial days. In the form of night watches, local sheriffs, and militias. But it wasn't until the 19th century that northern cities such as Boston created modern police departments as we would recognize them today.
C, I see.
These northern departments were not the first example of a uniformed, publicly funded law enforcement institution in America.
By the time the northern colonies were afoot in the 17th century, the idea of keeping track of the most valuable asset in the United States, that is enslaved Africans, animated much of what we recognize today as law enforcement.
In the 1700s, the South saw the rise of official, salaried slave patrols, whose task was to capture, control, and brutalize enslaved people.
Fair use, fair use.
The initial acts that empower slave patrols and militias were acts that basically empowered all white people to surveil and punish all black people.
These slave patrols were required to serve a tour of duty, usually up to a year. Individuals were compensated for their time, but they were also penalized if they did not show up for their required service.
All white people, including white children, were expected to enforce so-called slave codes. These laws were meant to prevent enslaved people from organizing or rebelling. It was against the law, for example, for enslaved people to leave their plantations, gather without a white person present, learn to read or write, or even defend themselves if attacked by a white person. After the Civil War, the 13th Amendment to the Constitution abolished slavery except as a punishment for a crime.
The South immediately moves to exploit this loophole by passing a series of crime bills known as black codes, which essentially criminalize all forms of black freedom.
Without the bone. Eat the fruit.
They criminalize unemployment by adopting these very broad vagrancy laws that essentially criminalize any black person who can't prove that they're working. Any African American who challenges the terms of work barters or brokers for a better deal, turns down a terrible offer, walks away from an abusive employer or a relationship with a landowner, by definition becomes a vagrant and by definition becomes a criminal.
I can't hear nothing. Can you hear anything?
I think the brother probably got knocked out because that's
So,
what happened last time. It
keep
paused.
the stream rolling. Keep the
It
stream rolling.
paused. Yeah, we don't rock with 100% of what the video is talking about. Just eat the fish and spit out the bones. Because, you're just going over the origin of
Yes, sir.
police. But the real law enforcement is really sheriff. Because that's what, sheriff. They just called, brother, you interrupted me again.
The slave
hold your thought, brother. Hold your thought. Give me a second. The real law is sheriff. That's what sheriff means, but they just changed the way they said it into sheriff. But sheriff means the law. That's the original law. The police is policy enforcers. They came later, and their origin is, and the policy was that we are to bend, under their necks. As the video said, that's the policy they had back then. And a whole lot of these so-called establishments that's here today started off as like slave patrol, like the
Democratic Party had slave patrols.
Brother.
The same they had the same sheriff star as the people who had the slave patrols. And that's what it evolved to. And then the first Republicans was actually started after the Whigs Party, and it was Republican that started from black people in Texas, black businessmen.
Well, the police, their origin, they've been doing what they do today all along concerning us. If you go back to like the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, all the way up to the year I was born, it's always been the same. They always been sicking dogs on us, putting water hoses on us, beating us and shooting us. Always been like that. So it's nothing new today that they do that. It's just that we need to understand that this system wasn't designed for us. It's not rigged. It's working the way it was designed, and we need to get out of it, not participate in it. Because if we participate in it, we're only trying to fit in it, even if we decide to take that job. If we're not being a so-called maverick and changing the culture, because the police culture is what causes what they do.
Yeah,
it's not training. Bro. It's not training. It's culture.
I'm back.
Yes, sir. That's the facts.
Mike check. I'm about to finish.
Okay, look, that shit putting us in the system.
They're lower status society.
What we see is that general way of thinking about race and thinking about disorderly people never really changes. It's kind of woven into the DNA. But it's not just because individual police officers are racist. It's because the institution was literally created to make sure that wealthy and powerful people could extract labor.
Early police departments in the North had a similar goal to control labor and were notoriously corrupt.
The police functioned as an expression of political elites and powerful, affluent people who essentially wanted poor people to stay in their segregated slum communities. Police often functioned as enforcers of political machines, functioned one step removed from gangs.
Police often worked in the service of business owners who were faced with growing unrest among their labor forces in the wake of mass European immigration and rapid industrialization.
One of the best examples of this is the Pennsylvania State Police. The institutions that precede the Pennsylvania State Police are actually private police forces which are owned by people who are running coal mines. And their job is explicitly to control the workers who are trying to unionize for rights.
The story of policing in the United States is the story of systems meant to protect and serve only a fraction of Americans. It is this history that many of today's activists point to when calling for the defunding or even the abolishment of police.
The cops not protecting us, we gotta protect us.
The ability to police crime or inequality or poverty or races or whatever was the social problem to be solved by law enforcement was always an act of political power and discretion. And it just so happens that African Americans have stood in that position for the longest of any other population.
What the history does is it allows us to decouple the idea of public safety from the idea of police. What actually protects women from rape and from sexual assault, right? What actually stops people in communities, both black and white, from killing each other? What kinds of things actually help people who are mentally ill? Are those things police? And I think very quickly, once you reflect on that, you realize the answer is no. We have to stop saying police are broken. We have to say police are working, and we need to create another institution to do public safety.
Exactly.
Don't buy another pair of glasses until you've seen what this new invention can do. These self-adjustable glasses are taking the world by storm. They let you achieve a perfect 20/20 vision at any distance, which means you won't have to visit your eye doctor ever again. They were created by an optician who dedicated his life to providing a solution for myopia, hyperopia, and astigmatism. The story of John Mayer's discovery began 3 years ago after thousands of eyeglass prescriptions. He noticed a trend. As people get older, they need to change their glasses way too often. And when you're nearsighted and farsighted, you need to have 2 pairs of glasses with you. But having to carry 2 pairs of glasses all the time is downright annoying, not to mention quite expensive too. John also discovered another big issue. Almost all spectacle wearers suffered from eye strain and fatigue. It turned out a lot of his clients were wearing glasses with an incorrect prescription. John teamed up with an optical engineer to fix these issues and make everyone's life easier. After more than 2 years of research and development and another 10 months of testing, iOptics was born. iOptics is an innovative pair of glasses.
My bad, everybody. Let my brother Enemies Public get it, Key get it, then everybody else can tap in after that. Y'all got it.
Yes, we have to have another institution who have a genuine concern for the people patrol our areas. Even if they look like us, it doesn't mean that they have a genuine concern for our people. It's best that the people are from the area where they patrol, because they can't do dirt here and go 20 miles away after doing dirt here for 10 to 12 hours, busting heads, and then going back to where they live at and then bragging to their counterparts the niggas' ass that they whipped today. So if the brother or sister live where they patrol and grew up where they patrol, 9 times out of 10, it would be a genuine concern for the people that they're supposed to be really serving and protecting. That's when serving and protecting will happen, when the person lived there, because they care about their community. But you're not gonna tell me you care about the community when you don't live here. You don't. I can understand if you was from a community and moved and came back. A lot of people love where they're from, but if you've never been here, you don't care about this community. You're just getting a paycheck. At the same time, your perks is your perceived power. I'll land right there.
That's right. In a lot of those cases, those people take advantage of running up their marker, running up their arrest or running up their tickets that they give out. A lot of them run up bodies because, within these orders, they get points for that. So these are a lot of things that we have to think about when we got officers patrolling communities that they're not from or that they're not a part of, because these are some of the things that they take advantage of. Unfortunately, we got to understand that they doing their job. Like they said at the end of the video, like my brother, the enemy's public always say, that the system working. It was never for us. So we got to keep that in mind. And I'll relinquish the mic, man. Go ahead, you got it.
I just want to say this. I want to say this real quick though. When you send motherfuckers overseas, right, for war, Vietnam, whatever the fuck, right? Them not they people, right? So they gonna do whatever. It's like, I don't know you. It's the same thing, but we at home, right? So it's like,
You know what they told us
damn.
in Vietnam? They said, "Soul brother, go home." That was their propaganda. We got propaganda here, like.
Damn, bro, you didn't hear my man talking? You just interrupted him while he's in the middle of talking, man. Come on, bro.
He good. He good.
No,
But I'm just saying.
I don't dig this. Dig this. Y'all ain't supposed to be up here first. I'm being nice. The title got me, the public enemy, and Key Norful. I'm being nice letting my brother up. But he taking my kindness for weakness now. And I'm getting tired of it. He just cut you off. That ain't cool. That ain't cool. I want the platform, and it don't gotta be my way I want. I'm just saying I want one person speaking at a time. Wait for that person to speak. Once he finished, then you can jump in. Not in the middle of what you talking. It ain't that important. I got a pen and pad. If I gotta write some shit down, I write it down. I got a pen and pad. Get a pen and pad. If you gotta remember some shit, just don't cut nobody off. That's all I'm saying.
I heard you.
That's
but
all.
Go
ahead, brother.
I've been sitting here
King Genocide, but next time I ain't letting you on.
I just been sitting here. I've been listening the whole time, right? Plus, I gotta lay down a minute. I gotta take this shit to Atlanta. I ain't gonna lie. But make a long story short, when you send, I was in the Marine Corps, right? If you send motherfuckers somewhere, they don't care about the other people. Here you are, do your goddamn job. Whether slay, kill, whatever. You don't know them. They ain't your cousins, your aunties, your uncles, your mama, your daddy, whatever, right? So I look at it like that. Now that I've gotten older, it's like, oh, okay, I see. Same way with these goddamn police. Like brother said, I don't live around you motherfuckers. I do anything, and then drive my ass back out to the county and sleep good and then go to work again tomorrow and fuck you up some more. I mean, it's so diabolical to where you can lay your motherfucking head down, fuck up somebody and be like, oh well, that's what the fuck happens, collateral damage. But you don't live here. You don't know what's going on. I remember we was little, the police would come hang out and give us candy and shit back home in St. Louis and all that. Now them motherfuckers don't do none of that. They used to ride too. They used to walk the streets and shit. They ain't doing that shit. Like the dude said, get a check. Like you flipping fucking hamburgers or some shit at McDonald's. All right. I got an old white partner of mine. He's a police officer. Been there almost 15 years. He love his job. He said, I love when niggas run. I fuck them up. Guess where his ass live at? Way out in the county in St. Louis. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I had to say about it. I land on that, man. It's like, you can't send me somewhere and I don't know the people. This ain't Andy fucking Griffin. They don't give a shit. They truly don't care. They're like, hey, what? Fuck it. I went to work. What'd you do? Fry some chicken. Like you make it seem like me and them, they make it seem like it's like you working a normal job. No, motherfucker. You got a gun on you, dogs, backup, all kinds of shit, and you don't give a fuck what the fuck you doing. I don't understand. I understand it, but I don't understand why our people don't understand it. That's all I got to say, man. Y'all go ahead. Y'all got it.
Yes.
The reason why our people don't understand it is because they don't want to understand it. They understand it, but they don't want to accept that accountability. It's like the females, because we were raised by our mothers, and we love our mothers, but at the same time, we've been building and we've been doing a whole bunch of good shit, but at the same time, that's where it comes from. If you ain't heard that shit, look, and I admit that shit to myself. I want, you know what I'm saying? Like, if we don't do that shit, ain't nobody else do that shit. But that's the divine feminine. But we got a divine masculine. This man being attacked. See, the divine feminine protects the divine masculine. And the divine masculine protects the divine feminine. That's why we're supposed to be practicing polygamy and some other shit. All right, yeah. You go ahead and play the video, OG. I'm being honest, though.
Are here to protect us. And I think that a lot of the conversations you're seeing across the country are basically asking the question, well, wow, police are here to protect us. Why does it seem like at least a lot of communities feel like that's not happening?
See, how long is this program?
This is David Cooper, a retired Wisconsin police chief with over 30 years of experience. He's been on the front line fighting for change inside police departments for years now.
Well, should we start at slave patrols? Yep, that was slave patrols.
Slave patrols were an organized group of armed white men who would monitor and enforce discipline upon black slaves in the 1800s.
And then that kind of morphed into Jim Crow. And it was quite obvious about whose side the police were on. I mean, there wasn't any question. If you were a person of color and you had a beef about how a white person or a store owner or somebody who treated you, forget about it. You know, you're going to jail.
My name is Chinjirai Kumanika, and I'm an assistant professor in Rutgers Department of Journalism and Media Studies. You know, what you have to understand is that in early America, right, a lot of the wealth was made. I mean, the wealth was basically made by exploiting labor. And so in the South and places where slavery was, the economic system, that meant you're exploiting slave labor. What you see is from the beginning, these departments have kind of a racist function. I see a lot of people, kind of talking about this, and they'll say, well, our police are broken, but we have to reestablish trust. The question I would say is, okay, but if the police are broken, what year in American history did the police break? If you're talking about reestablishing trust, can you point to the year in American history where there was a foundation of trust between the Black community, for example, and police officers? Are you going to say that there was trust between the Black community during Jim Crow in the 20s? But a lot of police officers have found it hard actually to do that job.
Well, it's always been tense. When I worked on the street in Minneapolis, after Dr. King was slain, and the north side of Minneapolis most of the businesses were burned and looted. I decided we had to do something different. I was just a patrol officer at the time. I went to the captain of my station, Northside Station, and I said, I think we should put a footbeat down in the Black community. And I said, I want an exemption to one department rule. I don't want to have to wear my hat this summer because I want people to know who I am. And if I wear my hat, somebody might shoot me thinking I was one of those other officers.
David did see a change. He was able to connect with local citizens on a personal level. He realized that by showing respect, he would receive it back in return.
Nobody wants to live in a crime, crazy-ridden neighborhood. Everybody wants that. And so as my trust and support came, well, then I got a lot of information about crime, and I think I did a really effective job.
That was the first of many efforts David would make to bridge the gap between the Black community and the police department. Years later, David would be at the center of a culture shift with other departments around the country taking notice, and it all started with a uniform change.
So the blazer uniforms worked excellently. It was well received by the public. We got an article in Newsweek magazine about what we were doing, and the idea just caught on. There was not a military uniform available. That was the only. It was consisted of a blue blazer and shirt and a tie, and then that was the standard. You could have whatever color tie you wanted. The blazer had the police department emblem on the pocket.
Uniforms were controversial when they were introduced. Police officers weren't into uniforms, but what they recognized with uniforms is that they offered police officers a kind of prestige and a kind of sort of seeming official. So it just didn't seem like just some dudes from around the way coming to arrest you. Now we see surveillance technology, and of course we see military weaponry. You have that kind of equipment, that kind of warrior mentality. You go into a community, you may see yourself as there to serve the people, but the community is not going to see you that way. And I think that that's a real problem if we're trying to rebuild trust. Now, again, I wouldn't use the word rebuild trust because I can't point to a point when there was trust. But I can certainly say rolling into
no trust
community,
in my
like you're an
community.
occupying force. Tear gas, rubber bullets, tanks. That certainly is worsening trust.
It's hard to change the police on the state level. Standards boards, everything, and it's impossible to do it nationally. But good people can get together on, cities and counties and townships and say, we're gonna work with the police to make them better.
It's on one hand, make a community that's more robust with social programs, so you need less institutions for public safety. And at the same time, create an economy where all those people who are currently employed as police officers can find other ways to really help. And I think that's the solution.
Over the years, there have been attempts to change the culture inside law enforcement, as well as efforts to bridge the gap between them and the community, but many have fallen short. Today, David believes this is the tipping point to the fight he's been battling for decades.
Hey everyone, Cody Broadway here. Thank you so much for taking the time to check out the NBCLX YouTube channel. Be sure to click here.
Fair use, fair use. Go ahead, my brother enemies. You got it.
Yes, sir, brother.
And real quick, shout out to Rainstorm. Appreciate you, brother. Drive safe. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, drive safe, Rainstorm. Thanks for coming through, brother. Yeah, a lot of our people, and they try to tell us that, we're going to hire more minorities and we're going to get more people on the departments, as if it's going to change anything when they get on the department and they do exactly what you said, brother OG, and they just try to fit in. And a lot of times they'll do worse to us than others do. And I find that all these major police departments and superintendents of state police and police departments, and especially correctional facilities, the wardens is our people. Our people. I know in New Jersey, the superintendent of all state prisons is one of us. And our people are under horrendous conditions in these prisons. And a whole bunch of police captains and superintendents and police directors, they're one of us. And still we're under those conditions because they got in and they fit in, and a lot of them was making like 6 figures doing their job. And that's the only thing they care about, climbing that ladder. Even in Jersey City, they have a sister who's a police superintendent who was never a cop. They hired a civilian, which is probably a good idea, to be a civilian as the police's boss. That's probably a good idea. And I think it's another municipality in New Jersey where they have a civilian as a police director. Probably a better idea than having somebody come up through the ranks that's going to sign off everything that they do. But my sentiment is, don't participate. We have to establish something that's ours. That's what we need to do. Something that's ours. I yield the mic, brothers.
Might take a little time to get there, till we find, a system that works. But
Yes.
it's worth trying. Oh yeah.
Yes,
Hey, you got time for another video, brother?
Yes, sir. And also before you play it, brother, we have to consider what our people's gone through. We have to be patient with our people also. We have to be patient when working with our people. Yes, sir. I got time for another video, good brother.
Got you. This, I think, 13 minutes, but we can go through it quick. This is the origin of police. The origin of the police. The origin of U.S. law. Fair use.
Origin of everything will be analyzing the discriminatory history of U.S. law, tracing its origins in colonialism to the present-day penal system. In order to deconstruct this troubling history, we'll be looking at 4 distinct time periods of U.S. law. First, we'll look at the foundation of legal discrimination based on race during colonialism. Next, we'll examine the system of chattel slavery to see how the legacies of colonialism translated into ongoing legal subjugation for Black subjects in the U.S. Third, we'll explore how Jim Crow laws extended legal discrimination into the 20th century. And finally, we'll discuss how the concepts of being tough on crime in the latter half of the 20th and early 21st century allowed the continuation and expansion of discriminatory laws under the umbrella of mass incarceration. By tracing this timeline, we'll be looking at the ways discriminatory legal practices have always disproportionately impacted Black and Brown communities, and how these legacies and laws continue to have adverse effects on vulnerable communities to this day. But before we get into the heart of how laws and sentencing structures can be discriminatory, we should clarify a few key terms, namely crime and punishment. And no, I'm not talking about the Dostoevsky novel of the same name. I'm talking about crime or breaking of laws and punishment, as in the penalty you pay as a result of being found guilty of committing a crime. Although we often think of these things as directly correlated, think of the old adage, if you do the crime, you've got to do the time, there's actually not a direct relationship between how much crime is committed and what types of punishment are meted out. In his book, Thinking About Crime, Sense and Sensibility in American Penal Culture, Professor Michael Tonry notes that nations with remarkably similar crime rates often have vastly different sentencing and punishment standards. He determines that crime rates and punishment rates often don't align, and that governments decide how much punishment they want. He writes, this can be seen by comparing crime and punishment trends in Finland, Germany, and the United States between 1960 and 1990. The trends are close to identical. Violent crime rates in all 3 countries grew by a factor of 3 to 4, and homicide rates more than doubled. Yet the US imprisonment rate quadrupled in that period, the Finnish rate fell by 60%, and the German rate was broadly stable. So in this example, we see 3 countries with almost identical crime trends, with 3 starkly different ideas of punishment. Therefore, when we analyze how laws are broken and punishment is assigned, we have to look at why societies change their stances on crime and punishment. Tonry attributes this to a few factors, 2 important ones being moral panics and the sensibilities of a society. Moral panics, as he describes them, occur when a society sees a moral or social issue and overreacts as a result, which usually leads to increased rates of punishment or more severe punishment for offenders. Another cause is that societal sensibilities, or the attitudes and beliefs of the society, often change, which in turn changes the types of acts we consider crimes and the types of things we consider as just punishment. So although we're often taught to look at crime as directly correlated to punishment, there's actually an argument to be made that they're working somewhat independently of each other. Which brings us to our first stop in the history of legal discrimination in the United States: colonialism and slavery. After colonies were established in North America, colonists were subject to the laws and customs of England. In their essay Situating Colonialism, Race, and Punishment, Professors Jita Chowdhury and Mark
You
Beeman
heard
explain
that,
how
right?
the development of slavery in
England.
the North American
Let
colonies
me
and
rewind
later
that
in the
back
early
a little
United
bit.
States.
Here we go.
Which brings us to our first stop in the history of legal discrimination in the United States: colonialism and slavery. After colonies were established in North America, colonists were subject to the laws and customs of England. In their essay Situating Colonialism, Race.
Y'all hear that? What y'all think about that? And I think that we're still, the laws are from England.
Oh yeah, you know that's part of the United States policy.
Basically,
You know
I
that's
say
why
that's
they.
where this police ordinance and all this shit came from
That's it.
when they came
That's
over.
why they run in America, not from America. They run in America from the District of Columbia. They headquarters. That ain't considered the soil.
Gotcha.
That's
I
the
just
root
want
where
I
it
just
go
want to
back
make
to.
sure y'all heard that. Go ahead, kid.
Oh nah, you on point, OG. I'm tracking with you.
Gotcha. I'm gonna play it back. If y'all hear something and want me to stop, just let me know.
And Punishment, Professors Jita Chowdhury and Mark Beeman explain how the development of slavery in the North American colonies, and later in the early United States, became dependent on the passage of discriminatory laws that specifically targeted people of African descent. They detail how, although the concept of discrimination based on ethnic or social groups dates back to antiquity, the idea that race was entirely based on skin tone and physical features evolved alongside the emergence of chattel slavery. Then the ideal was solidified with the emergence of scientific racism in the 18th and 19th centuries. Chowdhury and
Y'all
Beeman
heard
go on to
that?
note that although some of
Scientific
the original people of
racism.
African descent who
No,
entered the
it
English
chattel
colonies
slavery.
came as indentured servants and were eventually set free.
Chattel slavery.
Yeah, that's that's the lie.
Well,
I ain't saying it wasn't done, but I'm talking about what she said after that.
Okay, what she said after that? Hold on, repeat that
I'm
shit
listening.
so you can get it context.
Chowdhury and Beeman go on to note that although some of the original people of African descent who entered the English colonies came as indentured servants and were eventually set free, similar to English indentured servants, this quickly changed when colonists turned to chattel slavery as a source of consistent, exploited, and unpaid labor. They write, in other words, slavery seems to have evolved, in part, as a punishment reserved for Africans originally indentured. English indentured servants, presumably protected by English rights and the Christianity they shared with their masters, avoided such punishment. From the 1640s through the 1660s, with the principle of lifelong involuntary servitude established for Africans in colonial America, individual colonies began enacting legislation declaring Negroes sent to the colonies and their offspring slaves for life. In short, slavery in British colonial America became a punishment for being Black. With this important distinction, colonial America created the system of chattel slavery that sentenced Black people to perpetual servitude. Slavery created an explicit relationship between race and the law from the earliest foundations of American society. And this new legal category meant that new forms of punishment and torture were invented to accommodate this shift in who could be considered a full person under the law. Soon, laws and colonial codes were written to regulate the control
Shout
and
out to
punishment of
sponsor
the
Rashard
enslaved.
in the house. I
Although
see you, brother.
slavery was
Much
not
love
the
and
first
respect.
instance of race being tied to laws in the new colonies, the colonization of land in North America was based on the assumption that Native Americans did not have rights to the land they had inhabited long before settler colonialism declared North America as uninhabited. Therefore, laws that allowed white settlers to displace and physically harm Native Americans also established an early relationship between race and the law in colonial America. While most punishment was left up to slave owners and could include torture, brutal beatings, rape, and other inhumane cruelties, more serious punishment, such as execution, was sometimes left up to the discretion of judges for supposed offenses that occurred away from the plantation. But whether it was being
I
dealt by
don't think her
overseers and
information is
owners or
that
by the
great.
state, the result was a system of exploitation and
Not a
legally supported
coincidence. I think she's
subjugation
lying.
that left Black subjects almost entirely outside of the protections of the
Doing a
law.
lot of
This
lying.
system remained firmly in place in parts of the United States until 1865, with the ratification of the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments. But even these newly won freedoms could not guarantee the continuation of legal and extra-legal methods of racial and social control. Following the close of the Civil War in 1865, the US entered into a period known as Reconstruction, which lasted until the 1870s. Although there were some legal and societal victories for Black subjects during this time, they were swiftly overturned and replaced by Jim Crow laws.
OG,
Jim
could you
Crow
stop there
introduced
for
a
a
set of
second?
laws that systematically stripped Black citizens of their rights while also relegating them to inferior.
This female, she's from Rutgers also, in my city. And this is the same woman who compared us. She said all Black men. She compared us to the Peyton Gendron, the one who shot up the people in Buffalo, New York. She compared us to him. We don't go around doing that, but she compared us to them. She is a self-hating ass Negro woman who don't love her own people, but she's in so-called African studies at Rutgers University. I knew I recognized her from somewhere. You can go ahead, good brother.
Separate but equal public facilities like schools, washrooms, and sections of the bus, among other indignities. Black citizens were denied access to basic rights like voting, while also suffering under the weight of racial terror imposed by groups like the KKK and other white supremacists who organized lynchings and other forms of racialized violence. Jim Crow laws effectively relegated Black subjects to second-class citizenship based on a racialized caste system where white citizens were privileged above all others. This system of disenfranchisement was also supported by methods of financial control like sharecropping, which effectively reinstated the financial inequity of slavery through unfair practices. And systems like convict leasing guaranteed that Black people would be returned to a system almost identical to slavery in everything but name. With convict leasing, private businesses could rent the labor of prisoners to complete tasks. The businesses would pay the state, and the prisoners would be forced to perform labor for free. As a result, Southern states started incarcerating newly emancipated Black citizens at a higher rate, for anything from petty theft to vagrancy to other vaguely defined laws. This practice lasted from the late 19th century into the early 20th century. For more on the convict leasing system, check out our episode, Why Do We Have Private Prisons?, right here on our channel. The story of Jim Crow finally came to an official end with the emergence of the modern civil rights movement of the 1950s and 1960s, when civil rights leaders and activists fought to have these decades-long practices rolled back. But that only led to new ways of racialized legal discrimination. In her book, The New Jim Crow, legal scholar, civil rights lawyer, and advocate Michelle Alexander details the relationship between race and continued legal discrimination in the form of mass incarceration. In the 1960s, the prison population in the United States was around 200,000. But by the early 2000s, that number had exploded to over 1.5 million people in prison, with hundreds of thousands in other penal facilities. Think youth facilities, jails, and immigrant detention centers. And much of that increase can be attributed to Reagan-era war on drugs policies, although the war on drugs was first popularized by the Nixon administration in the 1970s. Popular wisdom connects these policies to the rise of crack cocaine across the US. However, according to Alexander, the official political campaign in 1982, known as the War on Drugs, actually predates the rise of crack cocaine addiction it was commonly assumed to address. She writes, "A few years after the drug war was declared, crack began to spread rapidly in the poor Black neighborhoods of Los Angeles and later emerged in cities across the country. The Reagan administration hired staff to publicize the emergence of crack cocaine in 1985 as part of a strategic effort to build public and legislative support for the war. The media campaign was an extraordinary success. The media bonanza surrounding the new demon drug helped to catapult the war on drugs from an ambitious federal policy to an actual war. Because of its cheaper price, crack cocaine use spread more rapidly in poor communities than its more expensive counterpart, powder cocaine. After the war on drugs picked up popularity and speed, we began to see the rapid incarceration of minorities, oftentimes for non-violent drug-based offenses as a result. And those arrested for crack cocaine-related charges face much more severe sentences compared to other drug offenses. For example, it was common practice to follow the 100-to-1 rule. An op-ed in the New York Times explains, "In what's known as the 100-to-1 rule, federal law mandates a 10-year sentence for anyone caught with 50 grams of crack, about the weight of a candy bar. To get a comparable sentence, a dealer selling powdered cocaine would have to be caught with 5,000 grams, enough to fill a briefcase." This wasn't rolled back until 2010 when Congress passed the Fair Sentencing Act. The act reduced the disparities between sentencing for crack and powder cocaine from 100 to 1 to 18 to 1. But despite the partial reversal of war on drugs policies, the US still imprisons more people per capita and overall than any other country in the world. And although African Americans made up only roughly 13% of the US population in the 2010 census, in many areas they are the majority of the prison population, even though they are not necessarily committing crime at a higher rate than white populations. As a result, Alexander writes, although this new system of racialized social control purports to be colorblind, it creates and maintains racial hierarchy much as earlier systems of control did. Like Jim Crow and slavery, mass incarceration operates as a tightly networked system of laws, policies, customs, and institutions that operate collectively to ensure the subordinate status of a group defined largely by race. In her book, she details the ways that those who are convicted of crimes are permanently labeled as felons and thus systematically barred from access to the full rights of citizenship through processes like employment discrimination, being denied the right to vote, and being excluded from jury duty, although some activist groups are fighting to reverse or lessen these discriminations. So this episode just scratches the surface of the ways that laws can be established to promote unequal life outcomes for different citizens based on race. We haven't even begun to cover other forms of legal and extra-legal discrimination that occur on the basis of gender, immigration status, sexuality, and class, not to mention other minority groups that have been exposed to increased policing, surveillance, and punishment as a result of legal discrimination. It also raises fundamental questions about the law.
For that, my brother. Y'all got it. You got it, the enemy's public.
Yes, sir. She's a straight up kumbaya, self-hating Negro woman.
You know, they quick to talk about slavery, but they ain't talking about how we were reclassified here, the Americans that was already here. But they quick to bring up slavery. That's, you know, the systems information. We can listen past that because us over here, we know that it may have happened. We ain't saying it didn't happen. We saying we wasn't a cargo when it did happen.
Yes, see, that's what I don't like. And they also go back when they mention our history, they start there, as if we didn't have a history before that. They start our history with slavery, and then, you know, Jim Crow laws, and then civil rights. Our history goes back way further than that. In America, not somewhere else, in America. But they want to seem like we were some cargo brought over here, and then it was Jim Crow laws, and then, well, cargo brought over here, a benevolent white man freed us, Jim Crow laws, and then the civil rights. A bunch of nonsense. But she got her degree madness, brother. She got her degree madness. She's a professor there at Rutgers in my city. She has her degree madness. She knows her indoctrination, not necessarily the truth, but she knows her indoctrination. I guarantee she got an A. Well, she did get an A because she's a teacher now. She's a professor of African studies. All this shit going on with our people, she want to study way the hell over there. You better study to free your damn people. Learn how to free your damn people out of the clutches of our enemy, this vicious enemy we up against. And she want to go all the way over there. And then while she's studying African studies, she want to condemn us and compare us to white murderers. The mockery of it all, brother. I have to get ready to go, brothers, because I have to get up early in the morning. But I want to leave, you know, our people with something. We have to get out of pointing out what others are not doing. If I'm not doing something, Big Dog Philly OG is not doing something, Key Norfolk's not doing something, and the brother King Genocide's not doing something, if any of us is not doing a particular thing, if you see it, why aren't you doing it? You're the one who see it, but you're going to point out that the next brother or sister's not doing it, and you see it. If you see it, get the ball rolling, and we'll aid you in your efforts. But stop pointing out what other people are not doing or what other people didn't do. We need to stop that because it's not progressive. Because if I'm doing something and you're doing nothing but pointing out what I'm not doing, who is the delinquent one here? If we're going to pool our resources, if I'm the only one bringing a resource, you're not pulling a resource. You coming, you eating for free. If you're going to bring something to the, if you're not bringing something to the table and expect to get your damn belly full, who's the moocher? Bring something to the table. Bring something to the table and stop pointing out what other people are not doing and do it your damn self. And I yield the mic. Thank you for having me, brother Big Dog Philly OG. Thank you for my brother Key Norful for coming and helping me with this. I appreciate it. We're not done. We're not done.
Salutes, my brother. I appreciate you for having me. I appreciate OG. Appreciate everybody for listening. This was another powerful build. And yeah, we ain't done, man. We got so many more series to go along with this. If we can just kind of, yeah.
You want to go live after this? Because I'm going to shut this down. If I'm going to shut it down and start over, or do you want to go live and we talk about it on your channel?
We could probably go live in like 45 minutes or so. I just got a couple things to do real quick, and then we could go live for a good hour or so, 2 hours, 3 hours.
I got you, because I want to shut this one down and get it in the books, and not let this be a long stream. But I am thinking about coming back, so we can talk about it.
Yes, sir.
Let's do it and play it by ear. Sorry about that, good brother.
I just appreciate, being able to do this on this stream, on this channel. I appreciate it. And
you already know, bro, we'll be doing another topic next week. We're gonna do this for a minute. Shout out to the brother the Enemies Public for the ideal and Key Norful. Because I love talking about this.
Yes, sir.
I didn't do much talking, but I don't mind. Y'all talk for me. My brother Enemies Public.
I got you covered, brother.
But go ahead and close out, and I'm gonna let the brother King Genocide close out. And I just might tap into another job after this. I'll see.
Yes, sir. Much love to the family. Thank you for coming through. To everybody on the panel, everybody in the chat. Subscribe to the Enemies Public. We're gonna do things over there also, but I wanted to bring this subject over here to be sure that our people got the message. And do the argument of why we should divorce this system. And myself, my brother Big Dog Philly OG, Key Norful, we're not gonna leave you hanging. This is for the attentive listeners. If you have an attention deficit, it's not the stream for you. We're going to come up with solutions. We're not going to leave you hanging.
Hey, hold on. I got you, my brother. We're going to play that, stay here. We're going to play our theme song, then we're going to close it out. You want the same thing, King Genocide,
Thanks for the sub, Nike 903.
But yeah, you finish off, my brother. I'm gonna get our theme song out of here. I'm gonna let everybody close out. We're gonna play that. I'm gonna shout the people out, and then we out.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. You know, play our thing, play our anthem, All Rise. This is what I put my hand on my heart for, this song that's about to come on.
Give me 1 second. It should be coming up now.
Oh,
I got
yeah,
it
peace
on
and
my
power
watch.
to everybody.
Here we go. Shout out to everybody, man. Share screen. Shit, which one is it?
White bitch team, but the great and don't apologize to these black queens. Fuck Iggy Azalea, fuck rap magazines,
Hey, shout
fuck white,
out
fuck
Roy
money,
on
fuck Jimmy,
Lawyer,
I'm Jimmy.
Norful,
Niggas got diabetes,
Enemies
fuck cake,
Public,
fuck cream, fuck the
Tony
edited
Furlough,
version, fuck keeping shit clean. Fuck Dan Wilson and
Purple
fuck how that
Stone,
sound. That
Philip,
fuck didn't give a fuck about Mike
Monique
Brown. Fuck
Hill,
grand
Mr.
juries, fuck
Top
sundown town,
Story,
fuck feeling sympathetic when a
my
cop
brother
shot
King
down. Fuck
Genocide,
concentrated poverty, apartheid schools, fuck
Ron
CNN,
Black Power
fuck
God,
corporate
Sponsor,
news, fuck
Donald
Donald,
Trump,
and fuck cracker ass
Roger
white
Dustin,
peas and white people, fuck
Raven
elephants in the room.
Square
Giuliani.
Metal Face Doom,
Fox
Big
News,
Big Chief,
Truth
fuck you,
Protect,
YouTube,
Chris Christie, Sarah
Tony
Bailey,
Burnett,
Michelle
Never
Berger,
Hungry Again,
Rush
Plant
Limbaugh,
2, Evan, Juan Truth, Nicholas, Noble Nuke, Epic Studies, King Genocide, OG Green Machine, Context, Got It NRG, Chocolate Earth Foundation, Dangerous Music, Sponsor, Solomon, Cut Time,
fuck trying to be the first black anything here. Fuck man, fuck men, fuck you and your queer peers. Fuck a tea party full of salty ass crackers. Fuck anything spoken from a dumbed down rapper. Fuck niggas who think money make a dumb nigga smart. Fuck crackers who people let the back when assholes talk. Fuck over for being scared of what whites might think. And she open a school here to teach young black queens. Fuck Drake for giving 35 million to a school full of overfed rich white children. Fuck integration, fuck the leading blacks. Fuck capitulations, sincerely fuck that. Fuck Eminem, fuck culture appropriators. Fuck Macklemore, fuck children of slave traders. Fuck Democrats, fuck Republicans, fuck America and the Republic for which it stands. Jefferson, Abe Lincoln, Richard Nixon, Lyndon Johnson, Ronald Reagan, Bill Bush, Barack Obama.
1903, Tia Brown. Response executive section. Shout out to everybody. Hope I didn't miss anything. Not a coincidence. Smokes. American Negro, the Enemy Public.
Fuck niggas who try to blame Mike Brown for his own death. Fuck cops who takes kids in the face for petty theft. Fuck the cop who shot Ayana Jones and she slept. Fuck cops who murder blacks who were whites, they make arrests. Fuck Reagan in the prison industrial complex. Fuck a war on drugs and fuck being oppressed. Fuck the ICC and the IMF. Fuck your kleptocracy. Fuck your codified death. Fuck every single one of you haters of black flesh. Fuck Europe, fuck England, fuck the entire West. Fuck devils on the right, fuck devils on the left. Wait for me to give a fuck, don't hold your fucking breath. Fuck fear in the police, fuck changing the way I dress. If Black Lives Matter, fuck a peaceful protest. Fuck more body cam, fuck sensitivity training. Fuck marching and complaining the practice who ain't changing. Viacom, BET, MTV, Universal, Warner Brothers, Interscope, Sony Music.
Shout out all my Black Power family. And my indigenous family, my brother. If y'all have it, please sub up to my brother, the Enemies Public, my brother, Key Norful, and the brother, King Genocide. Go ahead, my brother. You can close it out.
Peace, good brother. And I'll call you later.
Got you. King Genocide, did you want to say anything before we close out, bro? Got you. If y'all, King Genocide, you there, brother? Gotcha. He might have fell back. If y'all haven't, please sub up to the Enemies Public, the brother Key Norful, and the brother King Genocide. If anybody, haven't told y'all they love y'all today, I got much love and respect for y'all. Power to the people. Flat motherfucking power to my flat power family. Damn, it feel good to be Aboriginal around this motherfucker. Much love and respect to everybody. We out.